Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Report, and it's Thursday, and since I'm off tomorrow and Chuggs is off tomorrow, today, Thursday happy hour, so I don't know about y'all. I'm ready to get this weekend kicked off the right way. I got a 3-day weekend. Don't worry. You guys will still get your videos Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, as promised here on the show. Shout out to Queen, King, what up, Cloud, Toasty. If you mention that guy's name, you will get blocked in our channel here. We got 300 people watching the Raiders Report, and coming up live here on the show, we got some Raiders trade targets. Now, every single time the NFL draft happens, the way that we work things out here at Chat Sports, the way that my DMs usually get filled up are, Mitch, what do you think about the draft players? Who could we sign potentially for a UDFA? Then it kind of goes to, who do you think that we could sign for a free agent? And then it goes to, well, who could we trade for after the NFL draft? And today's kind of a fun day to look at a lot of that stuff, because today's also the fifth-year option day in the NFL. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, they declined the fifth-year option for Najee Harris. Kind of like what the Raiders did with Josh Jacobs just a few years ago, where they decided to decline his fifth-year option. They declined a lot of fifth-year options because most of their first-rounders haven't been very good. But hey, my point is a lot of trade rumors kind of going on right now around the NFL, and could the Raiders potentially find a player where their team drafted a lot of guys ahead of them, and now you could potentially buy low? I also wanted to do something of UDFAs that could make the roster. So I did a lot of UDFA grades. We did the UDFA tracker, and we kind of discussed, like, from top to bottom, what I thought about each player, okay? For a UDFA to make the roster, not only do you have to show up May, June, and July, play pretty well in the preseason, you got to get a few things that go your way, especially for some of those guys on the depth chart. So I have 5 players that I believe could make this roster, and I have them ranked from 5 down to 1. Then what I wanted to do is a segment that I've wanted to do for a very long time on the show, and I've never done it before. It's around when you look at the players that made the roster last season, okay? I have on today's show the top 10 players who made the roster last year for 53-man roster cuts that will not make it this year. So I'm not saying that every player that I'm about to mention isn't going to make the roster this year, but what I am saying is there's going to be players, obviously, that made that team last year that don't make it this year. So I have the top 10 players most likely to not make the roster that made it last season. All right, man. Shout out to Navman, Chappie, Big Luck, Sienna Madley. What's up, my man? Nova, super chat. Unfortunately, Nova, our graphics system isn't pulling that one in. You sent it actually too early, so shout out to you for supporting the show. But Nova said this: so excited for the season. You guys are the best, putting your time with your fam on hold to be here with us. It's appreciated. I mean, Chuggs and I appreciate what you guys do, and again, it's kind of like this balancing act. And when you guys act crazy, Chuggs and I have that ability to also act crazy and, you know, put some of the other stuff on the back burner because we feel like it's worth it. But we also love what we do. We love hanging out with you guys, and it's work, obviously. We've made this into our full-time job, even though some people don't think that that's the case. But believe me when I say this, Nova, I love Thursday happy hours. I love happy hour shows. I love making content here. And I also just love hanging out with you guys. So appreciate it. Let's go to Raider Nation. Raider Nation for life. The way we looking now, I would say we go 12-4. 1, you're missing a game. 2, I'm not going to go that high. I mean, DraftKings, I don't know if you guys saw this. DraftKings predicted the Raiders to win 6.5 games this season, which I would hammer the over on that just for the simple fact of the Raiders won 8 games last season. You know, you got AP who went 5-4 in 9 games. Your defense got better. Your quarterback play is going to be better. Your team in general, I think, is a better football team. The number that I'm looking at, for me personally, is 10 wins. And I believe that this can be a team that wins 10 games. Yeah, you got to get a few things that go your way. Like I said the other day on a show, you're going to have to beat Kansas City again, or maybe you get another lucky win against the Chiefs. And if you don't like me calling the Chiefs game on Christmas a lucky win when your quarterback doesn't have a completed pass for the final 3 quarters, then maybe this isn't the show for you. But you're going to have to run into a game that you shouldn't win, that you win. There was also plenty of games last season where we were like, oh, the Raiders should get this dub. And then they ended up falling short. My question out there to you is this. I want you to name a player that right now you believe the Raiders should trade for, okay? Let me know a player that, as it stands right now, you're like, this guy could help out our team. We talked about free agent targets the other day, and there are some players out there, and you got to think about it, right? Like, if you're going to be willing to trade a guy right now, it's not going to be for a lot. It is, you drafted somebody, you signed somebody, they're hanging out on your roster. Think of it almost as like a Byron Young type of player where, okay, now we can move on. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be some big-name players out there. Ben says Dak. Not going to happen. Xavier Howard from Navman, that's a free agent, so you don't have to trade for him. We see, so far that's it. Matt Stafford, not going to happen. Want Howard, maybe a signing of Adoree Jackson could be an interesting one. I'm getting a phone call from Graphic Raider. Do I answer it? Chuggs is giving me the yes. All right. Mitchell Renz here. You're live on the Raiders Report. What do you got?
Mitchell Renz. What's up, brother?
What's up? You called me.
Are you live right now?
Yes, I just started.
Oh, my apologies, kind sir. I was trying to see what you had going on Monday. I just got off the phone with Marquette King. We want to meet up and get a coffee and a cigar or something downtown.
All right, yeah, well, hit me up when I'm not live, but...
Raiders!
All right, I'll hit you up. All right, bye. I mean, that's the ultimate proof that Graf doesn't watch what we do, right? I mean, we go live every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 3 p.m. If Graf tells you he watches the show, he's lying because he doesn't.
Raiders!
I also love that we're going to grab coffee and a cigar. I mean, is that, again, I don't smoke cigars. I love coffee.
You do smoke coffee.
I'll tell you what. There's some days I get done doing the show, and it wouldn't surprise me if I at least tried it. You guys cook me some days. What up, Chris? What up, John? Somebody said Trey Lance. Maybe Trey Lance could be a name that we talk about. Today is happy hour. Here are the deals that we got going on. Every 200 likes, we're going to do a wheel spin. I don't know what the spin is. So, Chuggs, that's up to you. If you send in a first-time super chat, I like to think of this show on Thursdays, Friday happy hour as the official. Also, the Steelers have officially declined Justin Fields' fifth-year option. Shocker, would have been $25 million. I like to think of these as Oakland tailgates. So when Chuggs and I drink, I want you to, if you're over the age of 21, take a sip with us here. Also, every $2 super chat that comes in today, so Raider Nation 253, you are entered to win a Raiders Report jersey. So I'm going to say 3 weeks ago on the show, shout out to Husker Raider. I actually think it was the show that we had Graf on for. Husker sent in a $500 Venmo. He said, hey, I want to do a jersey raffle for everyone to have a chance to get in. Let's do a $2 raffle. So shout out to Husker Raider, one of the OGs here. He wants to do a jersey raffle, so I'm rocking a Fresno right now. This one's for Mount Raider Moore, John Borelli. Also, every Hondo, we do a beer bong bang. And since it's May, we got a brand new bang competition. Ira Jackson was the MVP in the month of April. And I'm telling you what, we got a lot of fun stuff on tap this month. As soon as the schedule comes out, which is a week from today, we're going to have a lot of different things going on here at the Raiders Report. Raider Josh said, let's get this party started. Raider Josh, I'm down to get this one started. Jesse said we should trade for Malik Willis. What do you even think that would be for?
Oh.
You could trade for any player. Malik Willis.
They'd probably want like a fifth.
You think? I think you get him for cheaper, but I mean, you drafted him the third? Brand new regime. So I think like anytime a brand new regime comes in, unless that new regime likes him more, which maybe is the case.
Oh, John.
What happened now? Is Colin Kaepernick possible? John, I think at this point I have a better chance playing in the NFL than Colin Kaepernick does. I also be a lot cheaper. That can of Happy Dad, this is what you would trade for? The Death Row can of Happy Dad.
It's a pretty good flavor.
It's definitely not bad. Today's Venmo deals, in case you're wondering, $20 Venmo to get in our 50-50 raffle duck race. And then I did not do a Zoom call yesterday because, for those who don't know, I had to move. And I'm going to be doing a Zoom call this upcoming Wednesday, so 6 days from now. I'm going to try to do it at the time that we've been doing it, so that's 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. For those that don't know, David Zahn has told me that he wants to be on every single Zoom call. So, David, you in? What we're going to do is I'm now going to add 10 other people that can get in on this Zoom call. So if you want a chance to get in on the call, you send in a $50 Venmo, and then I'm locking you in. All I ask you to do is send me your email address because I don't want to have to go hunt you down. I don't want to have to find you. If you want to get the Thursday deal, you send in 100 on Venmo. We're going to bang. I'll do a beer bong, and I'm putting you in the Zoom call. So all I ask is if you do this, please, please, please give me your email because it's a lot easier for me to send you the info.
Martin wants to know what time again is the Zoom call?
6:30 p.m. Eastern time. So, Martin, that's probably 00:30 for you.
Is that how far it is ahead?
My guess is he's 6 hours ahead, Eastern time wise. That's my guess. Martin, I'll be real though. Maybe it's only 5 hours because Germany I know is 6 hours ahead of the East Coast, where 5 hours could be London time. Martin, I don't know though. 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Lock it in.
I like Kirk Cousins and Dak, 2 guys you could trade for.
Cousins ain't happening. That one ain't happening. We got 664 people watching. If you haven't already, make sure you guys click that like button. How many UDFAs this year make the roster? Do you know how many UDFAs made the roster last year?
Was it 1?
None. Not a single one. Now, there were times where like UDFAs played for us, but at the initial 53-man roster cut down, nobody made it. That doesn't mean that's going to happen this year. I mean, if anything, Telesco has kind of shown that he's been able to find some good diamonds in the rough for some of his UDFAs. I mean, the most notable one off the top of my head is probably Austin Eckler. I would say that. Maybe Tyrell Williams could be another good name to throw out there that some Raider fans would recognize. To me, though, there are definitely, and I mean definitely some names to consider for these UDFAs.
Let's go. We want Dak.
You don't want Dak.
We want Dak. We want Dak.
All right, real question. Would you rather trade for Dak Prescott, okay, pay him $50 million, or draft Shedeur Sanders?
Dak.
The content creator in me knows that Shedeur Sanders would move mountains, but, like, I'm not really convinced that Shedeur is going to be good in the NFL. I'm really not. Like, it's an honest, like, I really do not know if Shedeur Sanders is going to be good.
I mean,
Simpson says Sanders, which I see some people saying Sanders. I personally do not know if he's going to be good in the NFL.
Now, the same people that are saying Sanders, I hope you're not the same people talking about we don't want divas, we want team players. Because if you want a team player, if you want a guy who's built in for the system, that's not Shedeur Sanders. He is a diva.
Well, I am a little bit interested to see, is he acting like this because right now him at Colorado, he's a movie star at Colorado.
I mean, he's going to opposing fans, putting on $50,000 watches and basically saying y'all are broke.
Yeah, that's a bad look for a QB. I don't disagree with you. I mean, I think it's one of those things where I know Shedeur is the quarterback of the Bison and his dad is Dion.
If people are like, oh, we want to win the Raider way, we want somebody who's a Raider through and through, do you think Shedeur's a Raider?
To me, the only way Shedeur works in the NFL, which obviously is like most guys, especially at the quarterback position, you can bring the flash, but you better back it up. If you're doing that type of shit and you're losing football games, that's not going to be a good look.
He went 4-8 last year.
No, I know. Believe me.
Everybody who was like, we can't draft Caleb Williams. He sucked against the Pac-12. Guess who was worse? Shedeur.
I also think that, like, one of my favorite athletes right now is Shaquille O'Neal, and I always love, like, when Shaq talks about his kids, and he's always like, you're not rich. I'm rich. It's a big difference. And, yeah, now Shedeur's definitely making NIL money. He's making money, but I almost feel like it'd be better for Dion to be like, humble yourself a little bit. I'm prime time. I'm prime. You're still just trying to get people to take time out of their day to watch you. Dak fits the Raiders from captain. I don't know. I can't get into a whole Dak discussion. Not today, at least. Now, man, you are in for our duck race here. The first name getting in, his name is Navman, the duck race. Remember, y'all, if you want to get in, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365 for a chance to get in. one of the things that we're going to be talking about again is players on that roster bubble. And I recently did a video of my 53-man roster projection, and all 4 of the players that are featured right now up on screen made my team. However, though, if you got 3 roster spots, right? Let's say you got 3 roster spots. Let's say you go out and you find 3 players that all legitimately give you a shot to start and help out your depth and, are just like good players overall. They're going to make your 53. If you were Telesco and you were Anotnio Pierce, and you could only keep 1 player that is featured up on screen right now, who would you keep? Would you keep Byron Young, type BY, Jacorian Bennett, JB, Nesta Jade Silvera, NS, or Chris Smith? I want you to type CS. If you could only keep 1, who would be the player that you keep? The Raiders drafted Byron Young in round 3 in 2023, round 4 for Jacorian Bennett, round 5 Chris Smith, round 7 Nesta Jade Silvera. So all of these dudes were Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler guys. Chuggy Bull, if you could keep only 1, who would you keep on this list up here from all these names?
I'm going Jacorian Bennett. I know a lot of people have been hard on him. I know a lot of people are thinking that he's toast and he sucks. Corner is one of those positions where I know some people have had success coming in year 1, but it's a lot harder for some of these cornerbacks to transition to the NFL, going up against NFL-level talent week in and week out. I mean, going from playing against Rutgers to going up against Devontae Adams in practice is a complete 180. So I still believe in Jacorian Bennett. I think he's a good player. So if I had to choose to keep 1, I'm keeping Jacorian Bennett. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's probably the player I would go with too, but maybe it's not so much Jacorian. It's more of, I like Nesta Jade. I'm obviously not that big of a fan of Byron Young, and to me, the depth at defensive tackle is the strongest out of all the positions that are up here on screen. Chris Smith is a dude that I like. I don't love, but again, we got some good depth, I think, at the safety position. If you were to tell me at the end of the year which one of these guys makes the biggest impact on our team based off of the roster that we have, I'll just say it's JB, Jacorian Bennett, for the simple fact of he's got the chance to get the most playing time. Like, he's going to be going up against 2 other rookie corners that were drafted in the 4th and 7th round. Then you're also going to be going up against Brandon Faison. I think most people watching the show right now are also hoping that they sign a Stephon Gilmore and Xavier Howard. Maybe a trade for a guy like, I don't know, Marshawn Lattimore. You get a little bit wild. If you don't do something like that, you're probably going to have a somewhat battle between Bennett and then the 2 rookies that you drafted this year. That tells me that Jacorian has the best opportunity. So because of that, because we need the depth there in our secondary, I'm going to roll with Jacorian Bennett.
Wow, you just totally copied my answer.
I did. I was looking off your... Oh, wow, that kind of threw me off on that screen. I was looking off your paper, Chuggs, and wow, that's really trippy. There's a lot. There we go. Now we're back. We're back and better than ever, man.
We're so back.
Dude, back and better than ever, dude. All right, can everyone say goodbye to Zebriz? Because he is officially gonzo. Yoda says, look at your own paper. You! Get him out of here! Raiders, Luis, you in. Real Cowboy, 307. Dak will cost too much and sucks in the postseason. Also, Real Cowboy, you in. Shout out to the 800 people. You're tuned in live to the Raiders Report. If you haven't yet, I want you to click that like button. And then coming up here on the show, which actually we just hit 200 likes. Can I get a quick wheel spin? Can your boy get a quick wheel spin in? Do you think MG will have a HR type of impact? What does that mean? Do I think MG?
Marshall Green?
I don't think that's what they're asking. But legitimately, who's MG? I don't know. It's an honest question. It is an honest question. Oh, Michael Gallup. No, I don't think Michael Gallup has a Henry Ruggs type of impact. Like, Ruggs was far, far the superior athlete. Just way better of a player than what Gallup is now. I would say you're hoping that Gallup can just be a reliable veteran receiver who can bring in... If Gallup plays an entire season, and if he catches 25 to 30 footballs, that's a good year for Michael Gallup. Like, again, I just don't see him being a field stretcher at this point. All right, Jeremy, It's an interesting spin. If it lands on any of the beans, I got to go get them. I didn't know beans were on the menu. I didn't know. Maybe I should have known. Chuggs hot sauce. Which one is it? The real question is, what kind of hot sauce is it?
I was going to do the any given Sunday.
Just right in the mouth.
Yeah.
Take a whole shot of it. Chuggs, while you're out there, if you go grab the jelly beans for me, both of them, and then you can get Graf's hot sauce. Full mouthful. I want a full mouthful of hot sauce. Giggity. How many UDFAs make the roster? Coming up next here on the show, we're going to get into some players that the Raiders could potentially trade for. Now, I know this is kind of like at the part of the offseason where, as I always say, the real ones are at. Real one to me is people who are not only bleed silver and black, but people that rep with Chuggs and I in the offseason, right? Like the people that would be down to go on that Raiders cruise with Chuggs and I. Like those are the type of people that are watching May, June, and July. Which, have you guys seen that Raiders cruise thing? Have you seen it? It's kind of wild. I actually had a Raider fan hit me up over the weekend. Well, not over the weekend. Yesterday I was off, so I just think it's the weekend. I had a Raider fan hit me up yesterday, and they were like, dude, if you and Chuggs want to come with me on this cruise, I'm in. And I was like, not going to lie, it would be a lot of fun, though we would have to figure out a way to make some content. If we did the cruise, that cruise would be nuts. Mr. Zahn, what's up, man? Yep, maybe. It might be. Steel Cage, I'm going to try to go. I mean, I was looking at like the different rooms, the different deals and stuff today. The really bad timing of it is it's like a week after free agency, so I definitely think the people who planned it don't really follow the football calendar all that well. Like if the people from the Raiders like actually followed the football calendar, they would have done this in like May, June, or July. Like that's the time of the year to do it. Let's go to Rod. You in? Raiders till the casket drops. Rod, you in for the jersey? How many years have you been a Raider fan, Rob? Big luck. Oh, I know. It's about $2,500 a person is the cheapest ticket. Till the casket drops. Raider fan 2024. Muerte sending in the good vibes here. So already to start, we're going to have a pretty good Raiders Report raffle jersey race. And then right now, Navman is racing himself. Also, I do want to just clarify, on Tuesday, LA Crash Dog won our duck race and was unable to claim the money because of me, that I wasn't able to send the money. I sent LA Crash Dog the money, so when he wakes up, which is probably, in my guess, 45 minutes from now, sends in a super that says, hey, just woke up, what did I miss? You guys already know that we sent him $130 to claim his prize. Just so you know. What up, Rebel? What up, Rod? Any given Sunday sauce. Very, very good on food. However, I'll admit, like, if I eat just straight hot sauce, sometimes it can result in a rather quick bathroom break. Dude. See, I feel like hot sauce is definitely one of those things where it's like, it's good in moderation. That much, that might make your tummy sick. Though, imagine you eat all of it and you feel fine. You're like, then it's a...
Give me some more.
Give me some more. I want some more. I want some more.
I want some more. I want some more.
Wow, Guy Jensen said 50 years strong, been a Raider fan. That's kind of wild. That's kind of wild. Sheesh, where are the Ultra beers at? I don't even think we have any Mick Ultras here. The only other beers we have, Miguel, are...
Venom Sosa.
What's up? The only beers we have here are Corona, the David Zahn specials. Zahn requires me to keep Bud Light at all times in the fridge, just in case he's ready to bang.
I couldn't get it all.
No? Get in there. Go on, boy. Get in there nice and deep like. Name that movie. Name that movie. Can anybody name that movie? Can you name that movie?
Oh.
Go on, boy. Get in there nice and deep like. The context is that quote is occurring at a car wash.
I don't know. Wait, you said it's a show?
It's a movie. The line is, come on, boy. Get in there nice and deep like. And it's happening at a car wash.
Joe Dirt?
Nope, the guy's like rubbing his...
Accepted?
Nope, he's rubbing his belly button.
Dodgeball?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. They do like the car wash to raise money so they can get into the invitational, and they're like, yeah, the car wash actually cost us money. The only guy that we've made money off of is that weird guy who keeps asking Justin to clean his car. He's just like some like redneck hillbilly, got a crop top, and he's just playing with his belly button and watching him clean his car. And that's why you subscribe to the Raiders Report. All right, y'all, let's get into the first segment coming up here on today's show.
Coach Harlow.
We're going to talk a little bit here about some trade targets. And Carter Harlow, you are in. Which, judging by, I've always wondered, what's that picture of?
That's him.
Is it?
Coach Harlow.
Is that you?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. For the longest time, I thought that was Tiger Woods. Well, it's the red Nike. The red Nike shirt, I feel like, is the Tiger Woods staple. I can't really... Jody Loves Chachi from Miguel. That's an elite movie. Elite movie. Also, we got Norman Hernandez. You in. I also see, can you add Aiden? He just sent me a 2 Venmo. ADAN for the jersey raffle.
ADAN?
ADAN.
Last initial?
E. You in.
Aiden E.
Navman, Norman, Charles G. So as it stands right now, $20 Venmo. You would go home with $30. We're gonna add to that as this thing goes on. As it rolls on here. It is Friday happy hour after all. All right, Chuggs. Are you guys ready to get into this first segment here? It's been a long week here at Chat Sports. We did the NFL draft Thursday, Friday, Saturday, came back on Sunday, got some videos done for you guys. We're live Monday, Tuesday. Chuggs, I don't even know when was your last day off? Where you legitimately did not come in?
Last Sunday.
Last Sunday. That's a pretty good stretch.
Not this past Sunday, the Sunday before.
Yeah. That's a pretty good stretch. If before my off day on Wednesday, I guess I would have had the same answer there. Though yesterday I started moving stuff at 4:30 in the morning.
I don't know if you can count yesterday as an off day for you.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. If we did something today that involved jumping jacks, I literally don't think I could do it. My calves. We started moving yesterday from 4:30. I got done at 9, like 4:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. Dude, when I tell you, I am from my kneecaps down. I feel as old as wasted.
My knees and my crack.
I feel as old as wasted. I am brutally sore, man. Even like, maybe this is TMI. I had to sit down this morning for something really important, and was not easy. It was not easy.
Here at Chat Sports, I actually have it easy. We have our guys, our NBA guys. They just came in, Marshall and Patrick. They've been grinding doing NBA and NFL.
Yeah, those guys are psychopaths right now. They're just sleepwalking.
Two claps for the NBA crew.
Shout out to the NBA crew. I mean, there was somebody that walked in today.
Yeah, and Chip's been doing stuff as well in the back.
Well, I also heard that somebody walked in today and go, "Are the 49ers going to win today?" And I was like, "You need to go to bed. Guys, you should probably get some sleep.
You need to leave."
Dan Tesser, Mitch sits down to pee. I'm not going to lie to you. There's sometimes I do. If it's like really late at night and I don't want to turn a light on and wake up Alex, there's nothing more scary than taking that pee in the middle of the night, and when you start peeing and you don't hear water for that like second, you're like, oh shit. You got to get it lined up, man. You got to get it lined up. So sometimes you got to sit.
More than that, nighttime, it's just like, nothing's worse than like you start and you hear the bounce off of like the toilet seat.
Oh, that's what I mean.
You're like, I hit rim.
You're like, this is not good. Also, Alex is, she's the person where she's like, if it splatters at all, not good. That's usually not good for me. I have come to realize that I am okay with the idea of sitting while I pee when I'm at home for the simple sake of what?
Taino says you got a 0 in that rifle, buddy.
Dude, come on. Everybody's been there. There's sometimes that thing's shooting like 3 different ways. And you're just, it's like a hose when you put your thumb over it. You know what I mean? Like,
And sometimes I just want to knock out both just in case. Not every pee is a poo, but almost every poo is a pee.
That's true. Yeah, I've also learned that it's just Alex is the chances of Alex getting mad at me for sitting to pee, 0% chance. Standing, there's a chance.
All right, let's talk some Raiders football now.
Sounds good. Coming up here on the show, let's talk about players that the Raiders could trade for, or if you want to hear how Jeremy and I go to the bathroom, click that like button. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be looking at 10 players that the Las Vegas Raiders could potentially trade for after the 2024 NFL Draft. I do think this is important to note that I'm not saying that every player that you are going to see on this video is somebody that I want AP and Telesco to trade for. It's more of a who's the most likely list. And here's the thing, man. Making these type of shows is not easy, but all you can do is take reports, take rumors, take things that you hear from other people. Also look at what has happened in free agency and the draft. You put all of that information together, and then that a lot of times is going to equal the players that are most likely to be traded, on top of the fact of which players are the most likely to be traded, which players fit what the Raiders need right now. I tried to make that list for you, and you're going to see that today. If the Raiders do make a trade, here's the one thing I can promise you. I don't need to look at any crystal ball. It says we will be going live. When breaking news happens here around the Silver and Black, we go live, we party, and if breaking news happens and you're going to be watching this live, I want you to spam live down below. Let me know where my real ones are at. I know Zon's always going to pull up. I know Ron Raspberry's always going to pull up. Raider Honcho, my man Chob, 93 Nabman, always going to pull up. Where are my real ones at? The way that I wanted to do this is let's start this thing off with a freaking David Zahn type of bang here, and let's look at a post-draft trade candidate. His name? Trey Lance, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Raiders would have to pay Lance $5.3 million in 2024, and it would be the final year of his deal. Because the Raiders didn't draft a quarterback, and because from what it sounds like, they were not really interested in selecting a QB in the final, basically, 6 rounds of the NFL draft, we know what Gardner Minshew is, right? We kind of know what Aiden O'Connell is at this point. And those 2 quarterbacks fit into one side. With Trey Lance, he kind of fits in this other QB realm of maybe he could still be an athlete. I'll be real with y'all. I have never been a Trey Lance believer, and I am not a Trey Lance believer. I have actually said on this show before that I think Aiden O'Connell is better than Trey Lance. So, Mitch, why is he on the video? He's on the video because Rich Gangarilla was the 49ers quarterback coach back in 2021 when they gave up 3 first-round picks to go get him. He's young, he's on a cheap contract, and if you're looking for a QB that maybe can be your franchise guy for 10 years, that maybe can use his legs and offer you a little bit more athletic ability, something that your other 2 guys really can't do, that's why you trade for Trey Lance, and it's cheap. But again, I don't really want them to do it. I'll tell you what, though. Got a really cool message today from our Browns host here at Chat Sports, and he goes, hey, I heard you talking about Trey Lance. Another quarterback that you could potentially trade for that I believe could be on the block is DTR. And if the Raiders are going to trade for some cheap quarterback that they want to put in a competition battle with Gardner Minshew, with Aiden O'Connell, I got my pick right now. His name is Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Right now, you got to face the facts. The Browns have Deshaun Watson. They gave him $230 million guaranteed. Guess what? He's playing. But then they also signed Jameis Winston, and they also signed Tyler Huntley. So that means right now, DTR probably is that QB4 on that roster. And because we have a really close source here to Chat Sports, we're not sure if he's going to be a good fit with this new OC and Kevin O'Connell, and he is a clear upgrade, in my opinion, over Anthony Brown Jr. If Telesco and AP want to have an athletic quarterback that's, they can use potentially in practice squads and in practice games, like, no disrespect to Anthony Brown Jr., but like the video down below, if you think DTR is an upgrade over him, I know I do. Yeah, he looked like a rookie at times last season, but he also played some pretty solid football, and I do think offers you something a little bit different than what those 2 other guys can do. My point is, if the Browns have already done this, and he's QB4, if you offer them, let's say, a 7th round pick in the 2025 NFL draft, that seems like a good value pick to me. Bring him in, have him ball out a little bit. What'd you say? Las Vegas native. I know a lot of people watch him from UCLA. When you look at the numbers, they're not pretty, but I look at what he did in the preseason, and you just got to get your footing. You need some of those extra reps. And to me, if you want a quarterback competition, Dorian Thompson-Robinson in this quarterback room, I do think would be a pretty fun idea from top to bottom here. So we just went through Trey Lance. We went through Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I got 8 more players coming up here on the show. And this was a segment that I like doing. It's a show that I've done before that I always like to just kind of play like that Sherlock Holmes puzzle game. I mean, I did this on Monday with free agents, and I said one of the players that I would look at is Michael Gallup. A few hours later, what do the Raiders do? They end up going out and they making a deal to go sign Michael Gallup. But I love doing this show, and I think the Raiders Report got so popular earlier on YouTube and on Facebook because we were interactive, right? We were an interactive show. We were trying to get people's opinion, and let's play a game right now. If you could pick a quarterback out of the 3 names that are up on screen, you know what? He's not even up on screen, but I kind of want to add him to this as well. Anthony Brown, okay? Those are the names. You got DTR, Trey Lance, Carter Bradley, watch this, and then Anthony Brown Jr., AB. If you could keep only one, and the reason why I want to ask us this is because if your answer is DTR, well then let's make it happen. If your answer is Carter Bradley, Trey Lance, Anthony Brown Jr., well then you don't need to make it happen. But to me, this is so clearly DTR and it's not really all that close. Young player, athletic, gives you something a little bit different. It can really, really help, I think, create a little bit more competition and also give your defense something that they might not be able to get with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell because, no disrespect to them, they're not the athlete that Dorian Thompson-Robinson is. Let's go to the next name here on the show. It's wide receiver Treylon Burks from the Titans. Another player that, I'll be honest, I was not very high on when he was first coming out of Arkansas, but I do look at this as a potential yard sale. And the Titans, they signed Calvin Ridley. They've also signed, DeAndre Hopkins. Like, those are your top 2 wide receivers. But then also there's reports right now circulating that the Titans could trade for T. Higgins. If the Titans trade for T. Higgins, that makes Treylon Burks a former first-round pick kind of on the outside looking in. On top of that, we know what new regimes can do. You got a brand new regime down there in Tennessee. And I look at Burks as being a player of, I'm not 100% sold on him from top to bottom. However, though, if he can bring some of his physicality that you see at times with his tape at Arkansas, and like when he played for the Razorbacks in the SEC, you saw some physicality. You saw a guy that wasn't afraid to lay a block. I think with the Titans, they wanted him to just be too crisp of a receiver. That also has been an organization that has not done a good job with young receivers that they've drafted. That's a cold, hard fact. And at 6'2", 225 pounds, it's just another bit of just a little bit of depth. You're saying a 7th round pick, 6th round pick, you could probably get Treylon Burks for. Can we see if it ends up working out? That's a name to keep in mind. Let's go to an offensive lineman now. Larry Borom, guard for the Bears. And what's fun about this one is he can play offensive tackle and he can play offensive guard. Also in the final year of his rookie deal, so you could take a 1-year flyer on him, see how it works. He's also played with Luke Getsy the past 2 seasons and has a total of 939 snaps. The Raiders have Thayer Munford. Cool. You have Delmar Glaze. Cool. To me, Larry Borom would be your Jordan Meredith replacement, right? You already have Cody Whitehair. He could play backup center. He could play guard. You let Munford and Delmar Glaze kind of battle it out for like that other spot. But if you're not 100% sold on Jordan Meredith, or if you would like to be able to keep potentially 9 offensive linemen, does it make sense to find a older, not an older player, but a player that has played with Luke Getsy that brings some of that experience in that offense to just be able to help apply some of these other offensive linemen that you just have as depth? That sounds like somebody that I would at least entertain around. Here's another name. This is a big one. Kenyon Green from the Houston Texans, a former first-round pick who really struggled in 2022 and was injured last season. This is like finding a nice car. I'm trying to think of a nice car brand. Like a nice Lexus. Nothing crazy, but a really nice car in a used car lot, and it doesn't have any tires on it. Kenyon Green was a player coming out of Texas A&M that I did like. I didn't think that he was going to go in round 1. I personally had a round 2 grade on him, but like different regimes, has a lot of different stuff mixing and matching. Personally, I think Green looks bad in this situation because his stock has gone down when Houston's has just skyrocketed, and sometimes you just need a different change of scenery. The way that I would kind of look at this Kenyon Green role is like when the Raiders had Arden Key, go somewhere else, had a little bit more success. Cleveland Ferrell, never going to live up to a first-round pick. Kenyon Green, never going to live up to a first-round pick. But sometimes you just need that change of scenery to have it mix and match. Solomon Thomas, I think, is another good example of that for like the Raiders' standpoint. They drafted Juice Scruggs out of Penn State in 2023, and the Raiders, you'd only owe them $2.2 million in 2024 and $5.1 million in 2025. Trade for him, real cheap. Take a flyer on him. If you believe in your offensive line coach and James Craig, I would potentially look to see what he could do with a guy like Kenyon Green. Coming up next here, defenders that the Raiders could trade for him. I'll be real with you, man. This is where it gets fun. I think if the Raiders make a deal, there is one name, and I know when I mention him on this show, y'all are going to blow a flipping load, and you know what? I would too. If the Raiders trade for this one guy that we're about to look at, Chuggs just sneezed, so God bless you to Chuggs. Then I promise you we're going to rally. Also, Mother's Day, y'all, it's right around the corner. If you haven't gotten your mom something, go to chatsports.com/RaiderMom. If that special lady in your life bleeds silver and black, make sure that you know, or make sure she knows that you care about her. And I always know that it's not easy shopping for a mom. Like, I'm not lying to y'all. I just bought my mom a juicer, and she uses that thing all the time. I recently just ordered her this one exactly, this Raiders Mom coffee canteen. You can put the juice in that, Ma, so you can rock with it. Best mom ever. We got one for you. I will say this, though. Jeremy and I, we made a special link, okay? Because there's some moms out there. And then, you know, maybe you got a daughter or whatever, and you want to get her. She's a mom as well. You're a proud grandparent. Shout out to you. I also know there's a lot of, you know, dads out there, a lot of guys out there, and you're like, hey, my wife, she can get it. She can get it. My baby mama, she can get it. And if you want, I'm going to warn you, the link's down there. I dare you to click it. Chatsports.com/RaiderMilf if you got a special mom MILF in your life and you want to get her some Raider stuff. We got that link for you down there available. Sounds like a good link to click on if you plan on going to a Raiders cruise. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if you can click on the link in Texas, though. We'll have to check on it. There's a couple things that are, you know, banned in Texas. Hopefully, yeah. Raider MILF goes through in Texas.
We'll see. I do know this. This is a big hub of Raider stuff. Let's go to the defensive side of the football, and this has been a name that I have brought up multiple times. James Bradberry, cornerback of the Eagles. I can guarantee you this. You could trade right now a 7th-round pick in 2025 to get James Bradberry because the Eagles have already told you, they haven't told you with words, but they've told you with actions that they're going to be moving on from Bradberry at some point this year. He's going to make $12 million on Philadelphia. Here's the fun part. If the Raiders were to trade for him, it would only cost you $1.2 million in 2024, and he has no guaranteed money in 2025, so if you wanted to be able to move on from him, you could. He has experience with Patrick Graham. If the Raiders want to say, okay, MJ Devonshire, DeCamerion Richardson, Jacorian Bennett, we want you three guys to succeed. If I'm the Raiders, I cut Brandon Faison, I save that $2.6 million, and then I go out and trade for a guy like James Bradberry who has experience in this defense. Like, if I make this deal, this isn't me saying, hey, I want Bradberry to be the starter. No, this is me saying I'm making this deal to help some of these younger corners learn that Patrick Graham defense, to learn this scheme. And I do wonder that could you find a Casey Hayward? What do I mean by that? Casey Hayward was once said, done, washed, stinks, no good. Then he goes plays with Gus Bradley, a defense literally made for him, has a Pro Bowl season. The last time James Bradberry was playing at that level, his past season with the Eagles, 2023, bad. 2022, really good year with Philadelphia. 2021 with Patrick Graham, dude was an absolute baller. So all I know is this, $1.2 million for somebody that has experience, I'm on board with that, especially with all the young corners that we have on our roster. Let's go with another fun name here, Ambry Thomas, corner from the San Francisco 49ers, 3rd-round pick in the 2021 NFL draft. So, I don't like to make all these connections because maybe it's not that big of a deal, but a guy like Rich Scangarillo, quarterback coach of the Niners, I would imagine you at least get to scout some of these guys a little bit, so he's at least there. The 49ers did sign Rock Ya-Sin this offseason, and I know what we think of Rock. Not a lot of NFL teams think of him the same way. He's been a dude battling tons and tons of injuries, but the reason why that I like this fit, and this is my sneaky one, physical player, and he's best in press man. Like, that's exactly what this organization is looking for. 6 foot, 190 pounds, last season with the Niners, 43 tackles, a pick, 7 PBUs. The 49ers have a lot of depth at corner. Like, they really, really do. We reached out to a few people here at Chat Sports that are close with the Niners, and the number one name that they gave us was Ambry Thomas. We're going to keep it here with the cornerback position because if you don't know, I think if this team makes a trade at this point, it's probably going to be for a corner at least. I really, really hope so. Trey Brown from the Seahawks, source from Seattle, said he's kind of the odd man out. Seattle did draft 2 corners, and they have a brand new regime, so 1 + 1 = 2 here. He has 26 games played, 10 starts underneath his belt. So if you were looking for somebody that is still probably more of that press man corner, Trey Brown is a name to throw out there. 2 interceptions, 6 PBUs last season. Is a little bit undersized, so like, I don't want to say, I feel like I say he could be an Amik Robertson replacement for a lot of the shorter corners, but that's kind of how Trey Brown plays, right? He's a spark plug. He's a fun, entertaining guy. And again, it's not somebody that I think is going to be able to be a plug-and-play automatic starter. No, that's not the case. It's more of, we missed on Xavier Howard. We missed on Stephon Gilmore. Some of these other players, maybe a Steven Nelson doesn't want to come here, who's a cheap player that you could trade for and have a good value for. But here's the thing. I want to know, let me know down in the comments, if the Raiders could trade for one player only, and like, let's be realistic, right? Because if somebody says Patrick Mahomes, don't get me wrong, if you tell me right now I could trade for any player in the NFL, I'm going to pick Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback on the planet, and you get to steal him away from Kansas City. But the Chiefs, you could offer them 40 first-round picks. They'd probably still say no to keep Mahomes. This is like a legitimate player that could actually get traded this offseason. My vote is the guy coming up next here on this show, and his name is Marshon Lattimore, cornerback for the New Orleans Saints. I was talking to our Saints guy here, Trizzy Trace, and he threw out the name Lattimore. He also threw out the name Paulson Adebo. I also thought it was pretty interesting that about an hour ago from when I started filming live, Ari Meroff also mentioned Marshon Lattimore as a potential trade candidate. The Saints have about $4.2 million in salary cap space right now. The Saints, I said, traded up for Kool-Aid McKinstry. So they were at, 45? They were right behind the Raiders. They traded up to jump Kool-Aid on that run of corners. To me, you do that when you feel like you at least have somewhat of a need at the cornerback position. I also think that it makes sense for New Orleans to trade him after June 1st, which is fun because, remember, the Raiders are going to get about $24.07 million. And if you're Las Vegas, I do wonder if you traded for a guy like Lattimore, who I believe doesn't have any million left on his contract, like guaranteed money. Do you decide to give him some guarantees out there? But just like James Bradbury, if the Raiders trade for him this year, you would owe him $1.2 million. The Saints, they're eating a lot of money by keeping him on the books, and they might not be able to do that because they've already been shaving a lot of that money off. When you look at the last 4 years, though, I mean, Marshon Lattimore to me is a legit one of the best corners in the NFL. And well, you guys know how excited I get when I talk about a Stephon Gilmore, how excited I get when I talk about Xavier Howard. I'm being real with y'all right now. I am trading, and I think you could probably get him for a 4th-round pick, a 5th-round pick, because, again, this is more of the Saints are trying to shed some money aspect. You could trade a 4th or a 5th, get Lattimore. I would rather the Raiders do that than go out and sign Xavier Howard, then go out and sign a Stephon Gilmore, because Lattimore, what he brings to the table, that mentality, and I agree here with Ron Raspberry, Lattimore is a legit number 1, where I still think Gilmore can be a legit number 1. Xavier Howard, I still think he could be a legit number 1. I know for a fact, Lattimore, I know he's in Saint stuff right now. You put him on the team, and Lattimore is like what a lot of people were thinking and hoping Marcus Peters was going to be. Tough mother effer, not afraid to be put on an island, and is going to whoop some people up. Marshon, if you want to become a Raider, let me know because I am all in on that idea. The final player coming up here on our post-draft trade candidate video is Jamin Davis, linebacker for the Commanders. Formerly came from Kentucky, and this was a player that I was really high on coming out of the draft. And the Commanders have invested in linebacker this offseason, whether that be in free agency and in the draft. I mean, Washington has had so many draft picks, so much money in free agency, and Dan Quinn and company, they've been making a lot of moves. anytime that a team has a new regime, and not only a new regime, like you talk about owner, GM, head coach, this is a total facelift. And Davis has been a really, really solid player, but he's also like not part of this regime. So could you see an organization to say, okay, maybe we're going to move on from somebody to give somebody that we signed or drafted a little bit more playing time? 45 games played, 36 starts in 3 seasons with the Commanders, 89 tackles last season, 3 sacks. He's been a really solid inside linebacker. And if I'm the Raiders and I'm looking at somebody like a Divine Diablo, and I'm just not 100% sure what I think about Diablo, he's got 1 year left on his contract, right? Could you potentially decide to move on from Diablo, save $3.1 million by cutting him? I know cutting him scares a lot of people to say that out loud, but it is a surprise cut, can of the mind. Could you go out and decide to get a guy like Jamin Davis, who, to me, is a better linebacker than Divine Diablo? So one more time here. Here are my Raiders trade targets post-NFL draft. I have offense on the left, defense on the right. I really, really want this team to go get a corner, especially Marshawn Lattimore would be the top name. And then, I'm not even shitting you, like Dorian Thompson-Robinson at QB. That would move mountains here on the show. If you want to take a screenshot, tag Chuggs and I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. Jeremy is at Jeremy Chuggs, also on social media. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching the Raiders Report. Keep dancing.
What?
I need a button.
What?
I need a button. I need a button when you're doing your shenanigans behind screen. I can click a button and people can see what you're doing.
I literally don't know what you're talking about.
Is there a way? There is definitely a way where I can look on live stream and go back. Definitely a way. What up, Darth? What do you call a twitching cow? Beef jerky. I'll tell you what, Darth. That's a good one. That's a good one. Nico. Should have drafted Drew P. Balls at quarterback. Shake my head. Next move has to be a sign at vet corner. Need a mentor in that room. Should have drafted Drew P. Who the hell's Drew P? Am I losing my mind here? Surfa, much love to you. Who's Drew? Who? The quarterback for Wake Forest? We should have drafted him? I'm going to be real with you, man. At this point, I think the Raiders did the right thing by them saying, hey, we missed in round 1 of getting our franchise guy. Am I stupid? Is this a fake name? Oh. To be honest, I was reading this as Drew P. from like Ball State. Now I see. I'll take a drink to that. Honestly, I was like, I've never heard of this person.
You've never heard of Droopy Balls from Wake Forest?
My problem is I'm so bad at reading and I'm so dyslexic that I don't get these right away. I'm looking at, I will admit this, because the line break happened, that hurts. But I don't know. I don't know.
Come on, man. You've never heard of Droopy Balls?
Droopy Balls. What college did he go to?
Eye holes.
Oh, dude, the eye hole man. You don't want to run into the eye hole man.
Also,
he will kick the shit out of you.
We are 80 likes away from another wheel spin. Can we get 80 more likes to get another wheel spin going?
Randall Carter, you, sir, are in for our duck race, which as it stands right now, $20 Venmo for a chance to win $40 here on the Raiders Report. Remember the deals that we got going on today. First time Super Chat, we'll drink to that. Every 200 likes, wheel spin. $2 Super Chat to get into our Raiders Report jersey raffle. And everyone, Hondo, is a beer bong bang. And since it's May, we got a brand new bang race. Brand new bang race. Ira Jackson, he was the MVP. So, Ira, I probably have your information somewhere, but if you could send me your jersey size, which I think you already did, to be honest. But
Robert, you're not wrong.
What?
He said Thursday ain't looking so thirsty yet.
He's not wrong. And you know what? Sometimes that's going to happen. I know this. The offseason, this stuff happens a lot more often than the regular season because not as many people are watching Raiders football in May, June, and July.
That's why we need you to like the video so I can spin that damn wheel.
I want to spin that wheel.
I want to go fast.
Nico, it's all love, man. You know I love you.
Super chat coming in from Yoda.
What's up, Yoda? What do Wookiees smoke? They don't. They Chewbacca. That's a good one.
Good joke. I liked it. But you're not you haven't seen any Star Wars, have you?
Somebody the other day actually said, Mitch, what do we have to get to for you to watch Star Wars?
Martin, check your DMs on Twitter.
My point is, like, I feel like it's one of those things. Have you ever just not done something and you're like, I just don't think I'm ever going to do it? Like, do you have enough time to watch all the Star Wars? Like, that would be my whole weekend.
Yeah. Or you just segment it out. The only problem for you is Alex wouldn't want to watch it.
See, we tried to do Lord of the Rings, and I wasn't a big fan of that. And I feel like the thing when people ask me, oh, you've never seen Star Wars, and then the next thing is like, have you ever seen Lord of the Rings? I feel like it's the usual follow-up there. I wasn't a big fan of Lord of the Rings. Is it similar? If it's not, tell me. Michael, what's up, bro? Michael kind of looks like if Maxx Crosby and Graphic Raider shit out a baby. Michael Tolbert, what's up, brother? Hey, Mitch and Chuggs. What are the chances we get a solid quarterback in the next couple years, maybe spend some big money, and get our guy for the future?
I think getting Dak this next offseason is very palpable.
I mean, here's the thing, and we were kind of talking about this on Tuesday. The way that the Raiders are building their team right now, I think that they're more likely to try to spend big on a QB in free agency or make a trade for a quarterback. I'll also say this, that the NFL is a copycat league, right? I mean, it's 100% a copycat league. What if teams are going to start doing this, where the quarterback contracts are getting really, really high? And there's been, imagine if I told you 2 off seasons ago, you could have given up 2 first-round picks and paid $45 million or $50 million a year to get Lamar Jackson. You could go that route, okay? You give up 2 first-round picks and you pay a quarterback that's won 2 MVPs, Lamar Jackson. Or you trade 3 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks for a shot at Jaden Daniels. Like, I am starting to wonder if the NFL is going to turn into a league where, I mean, even like, look at Derek Carr. Derek Carr is not a franchise quarterback, but he got cut, and you were able to sign him. The NFL proves to me year in and year out that it's got certain trends that end up happening. I mean, if I would have told y'all probably in the early 2000s, late 90s, that running backs are just going to go, like, for free in a few years, 10 years, you guys would have laughed at me. I am starting to wonder if teams are going to start doing this route where they're like, you know what? If we're not picking high up there in the draft, it costs so much to trade on draft day before the draft, where maybe it just makes more sense to get a quarterback that is more established, and then you go that route.
You have 2 options, Raider Nation. Either you suck, or no, I would say there's 3 options. Either you suck, either you trade up in the draft, or you pay up and pay one of these quarterbacks.
I mean, I will say this, and AP and Telesco got to know this, where like they've done a lot of good things this offseason, but if it does not result in wins and losses, people aren't going to give a shit. And I can guarantee you this, if the Raiders do not make the playoffs this season, the number one thing that people are going to talk about, Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Like, unless Gardner and Aiden give me a legit shot to win Chuggs and I's $5,000 bet, I don't see how the center of conversation next offseason isn't around finding a franchise quarterback. I mean, it's got to be. And they know that too, or else they wouldn't have said the things that they did. Big Lock, FKC, F the Niners, and I'm in. Mike Van Leuven, you are in for our duck race, which right now means, is Van Leuven that ice cream company that we like?
Van Leeuwen?
Oh, it's Leuven. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Either way, though, Van Leeuwen, you in.
Eric.
What's up, Eric? Why did the gym close? It just didn't work out. I like it, Eric. I like it a lot. Darth, why shouldn't you ask Yoda for money? Because he's always a little short. You know who you could ask if you're ever a little bit short on money? Droopy Balls.
Yep.
He's always willing to come up clutch.
Yep. All right, we're 40 likes away. Can we get there before our next segment?
I got to change my jersey. By the time I get back, we better be at 400 likes. We better be there. That's all I'm saying. I got to switch out my jersey real quick.
Or else I'm turning the stream off.
Are you sitting down or no?
I am. There's 760 people watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you have hit the like button, type me down in the comment section so I can give you a quick shout out. Ah! Rebel says, you owe a bean. Well, we haven't hit 400 likes yet. But Zalesbo's doing her part. Big luck. Ron Raspberry, Miguel, Texans versus Mexicans. Zero Cool, Mike Nix, Richard, Surfa, Dylan Erickson, Sienna, Taino, Tadashi, Raider Muerte, Martine.
We are almost there, which means, and Jeremy, we're one away. Who's going to be like 400? Who's going to be like 400? We're one away. One away. Who's it going to be? As soon as we get it, we are then going to get into our next segment, which on today's show is that the UDFA segment or is it
this next segment
roster
is
bubble?
Roster bubble.
Roster bubble candidates. All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
We got there.
I think the nation just wanted to get to 420. I think that's the only reason why they did that. As long as it's not a gross one, I'll be all right. Uh-oh. Also, did you have jumping jacks in there before?
I did.
Are you effing me right now?
No.
I don't think you did. I think you added that one.
No.
Somebody go back and check the tape.
It's been in there.
No chance. Dude,
all right.
50 jumping jacks right now, my calves would explode.
What song should I sing all of you?
You guys get to pick. You guys get to pick. Whatever you want.
Real Cowboy says it was there.
I don't know, Blue.
It was there.
Don't
worry.
know. I don't know, man. I think Chuggs is trying to pull a fast one. Rebel wants Viva Las Vegas. See, Rebel knows the rules. If anytime Jeremy has to sing karaoke, maybe for some of our newer viewers that are new for since the draft, if Chuggs has to sing karaoke, the very first super chat that comes in, no matter the value, monetary value, you pick the song. So Rebel being a vet, he knew.
West Coast Spartan.
I'm in LFG Raiders. Shots out to Mitch and Chuggs. Raider Nation, Bauer's going to go beast mode this year. 2 entries. Not quite. 1 entry. So the way that we do this one, West Coast Spartan, which, and that's probably on me for not explaining it a little bit better. The reason why we're doing the jersey raffle and everybody gets 1 entry, or else some people would just get so many entries. So the people that do these jersey raffles, so Husker Raider just wants everyone to have 1 entry.
It's because somebody donated it, so we want everybody to have an equal opportunity to get it.
Yep. So that's, sorry for maybe not explaining that a little bit earlier. That's 100% on me. Bowers, though, I do think is going to have a hell of a year. Which we're about to talk here a little bit about Prize Picks. So spoiler alert, they're the sponsor on the next show. On Prize Picks, more or less 5.5 touchdowns for Bowers this year. It's a good number. 5.5 is the more or less on Prize Picks this year for Brock Bowers. Because I think it's actually funny at times how the universe works, where there was a lot of people upset about Hunter Renfrow getting moved on from cut, and it was the right move for the Raiders to do that. And I know how much the nation loves Renfrow because his first 3 years, he was the definition of a safety blanket, you know what I mean? And, you kind of fall in love with that blanket. Well, what if, you go from being a kid and you have that little safety blanket and now you can upgrade that into Brock Bowers, who is a bigger, stronger, just better overall version of Hunter Renfrow. We made the comparison. Hunter Renfrow is Charmander. Brock Bowers is Charizard. I'm going to take Charizard. I'm going to take it. Rebel, Viva, Las Vegas. Chuggs, when you're ready.
Bright light city, gonna set my soul on fire. Got a whole lot of money that's ready to burn, so get those stakes up high. There's 1,000 pretty women waiting out there, and they're living the devil may care. And I'm just a devil with love to spare. So viva Las Vegas. Oh, viva Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas.
I hope that there's one day, 30 years from now,
Viva Las Vegas!
It's just you and me. We're just like, we're at like a Las Vegas slot machine, and we're old, you know what I mean? And some Raider fan walks up to us 30, 40 years from now, and they're like, Chuggs, I was watching when you used to do karaoke on the Raiders Report. He hands you 50 cents, or maybe at that time, $10 is for like 50 cents. And he goes, I want closing time. I want Viva Las Vegas.
Grade the song. Rebel said he'll give it a B.
All right, I got an honest question here. If we were in Vegas and somebody walked up to you and handed you $5 and said, sing this song, would you go in for like 15 seconds? Here's the game I want to play this year.
I will say, for the right amount, I would go on the strip for like 30, 40 minutes and do an Elvis impression.
Dude, that's... First question is, are you allowed? Like, do you have to... There's some people who don't care. Like, are there laws against it? I don't know.
Dude, I went to Vegas... Whenever I went to Vegas for my bachelor party,
yeah,
you know, there's the people that try to rope you in to take a picture with you and stuff, right?
Okay.
So my little brother, first time ever to Vegas, didn't know the rules, and there were these women,
okay,
who were there dressed like cops. No way you would think that they were real cops, though.
Okay,
I'll just say that.
There's
no way you would think they were real cops. But they, he was like, it's his bachelor party. It's his bachelor party to these women. They put me in these handcuffs. And then my brother takes a picture of me. And they basically tried to hold me hostage until my brother paid them. They wouldn't take the cuffs off me.
I feel like that's not legal.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. None of it's legal. They're all just out there hustling for money. And I literally got mad at my little brother afterwards. I was like, dude, you cannot do that here. Like, they will legitimately get pissed at you and, like, hustle you for money. Because literally, he took one picture and they were like, that's $20. And my brother was like, no. And then I was like, all right, can you take me out? And they're like, not until your brother pays us.
Dude, that's wild. Poor Chuggs just walking around Vegas.
Dude, I was pissed because in the back of my mind, I was like, I know what this is, and I should have been like, before they came behind me and they grabbed my arms and put me in the cuffs.
I mean, that's them taking advantage of the situation where, again, I've never met your brother, but that's where, like, the light bulb has to go on and, like, you're in Vegas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you think for a second anything is free in Vegas, you're wrong. All I hear is this, though. We're going to start walking around Vegas with handcuffs. I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like.
Dude, and I know, if you've ever been to Vegas, you know exactly where they stay. It's right where in front of, where do we usually stay? Planet Hollywood.
Okay.
It's right in front of Planet Hollywood, the Bellagio, and the Lynx.
I mean,
right there.
That's a hot spot.
That's where they all stay, in that corner.
I'll say I kind of go around, bounce around to a few different places. Big Luck stays at the D. Derek and I are good friends. The owner of the D, his name's Derek. Good guy. Sienna, what's up? Put me in for the jersey. Thanks for fire content. I feel like we do Raider stuff. I mean, what if this was the fire report? Do you think that there's just like firefighters out there that like talk about like there is like a firefighter games? There's like a competition of people like doing things that firefighters do.
Oh yeah.
There's like a Spartan race. There's one for firefighters. There really is. Though people like I'll be real, and if you're a firefighter out there, again, you got to be a very, very brave soul, especially volunteer firefighters. I've seen some of the firefighters though in my hometown. You don't want there to be a fire in Danville. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, it's kind of like
shots fired at the Danville Fire Department.
Well, it's probably. Again, I'm from a small town, like 5,000 people. Imagine the people that are working high school basketball games as a police officer, right? Like, I know for a fact I'm outrunning every single police officer that works at a Danville High School basketball game. Dusting them, and I can't even move.
If you were that guy from your graduation, you're out of there. You're out of there.
Dude, you're good. DeMarcus Webb, Renfro is Steve Rogers, Bowers is Captain America.
Facts.
Dude, I kind of like that one. Vishal, Charmander turns into Charmeleon, who turns into Brock Bowers. That's the evolution right there. And if you give Rebel Montana a Thunderstone, what does he turn into?
Pikachu.
Not even close. Not even close. Juju, did you guys see what Coward said the standings would be in the AFC West?
He had the Raiders last.
I'll say this. Every single person's going to put the Raiders last. It's the same song and dance every single offseason. The DraftKings had the Raiders winning 6.5 games.
I think it was Chiefs.
Every year, the Raiders are last place in the AFC West.
I think it was
good.
Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders is what Coward said.
I want everybody out there put the Raiders last. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Like, here's the other thing. Coward's going to do a show 2 weeks from now where he's going to be like, the Raiders are super underrated and everyone's sleeping on them. Like, you got to understand, like, a guy like Coward doesn't get to where he's at unless you do those two shows where you do one where it's like you're really negative on a team, and then you do one 2 weeks or 2 months later and you're like, the Raiders are the team nobody's talking about, and here's why.
Ask him his opinion on baseball players.
Yeah. Uncle Doobie. Let me get in on that jersey, though. If you win, Uncle Doobie, it's got to say Uncle Doobie. It's got to.
It's got to.
It's got to say Uncle Doobs.
All right. Here we go. We're about to get into our next segment. The top 10 players who were on the squad last year and might be on the roster.
That might not make it. That might not make it. We haven't finished last in like 5 years. Oh, I know. And it feels good. To me, the Broncos could be the worst team in the NFL this year, right? I mean, they legitimately could be, which I don't know if I want them to have the number one pick, though maybe it is a good year for them to have the number one pick because the quarterbacks, I don't know. All right, Chuggs, Prize Picks is the sponsor here on this segment. Coming up here, we're going to get into 10 players most likely to not make the roster who made it in 2023. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the show. I've been wanting to do this one for many, many years, and hopefully it comes out pretty good. Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, I'm going to be ranking the top 10 players most likely to not make the roster who made it in 2023. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and I'm not sitting up here saying that all 10 of these players that you're about to see are not going to make the team. I am simply saying that AP and Telesco, I think, did a good job in the draft. AP and Telesco, I think, did a good job in free agency, and this roster is getting better. The one good part about your roster getting better is, well, your team gets better. The bad part is sometimes you got to move on from players that, the fan base kind of falls in love with here a little bit. So to me, I have them ranked from 10 down to 1. 10 being the least likely to not make the roster, okay? Number 1 is the player that I think is the most likely to not make the roster that made it in 2023. Let's go to number 10 here on the list, and we're going to start at the linebacker position. It is Amari Burney, and I should also mention these are the players that made the roster for the initial August 29th 53-man roster cut list. So if you don't know that list, you can go and look it up. Amari Burney was drafted in the 6th round out of Florida by our regime last season. I like Burney. He's a really good athlete. Still needs to develop into a player a little bit here. But with the fact that the Raiders drafted Tommy Eichenberg in the 5th round, that puts Burney in kind of an interesting spot. On top of that, I don't know how many linebackers this organization decides to keep because Spillane, he's going to make the team. I envision Divine Diablo is going to make this team. Eichenberg is going to make this roster. If they only keep 4 linebackers, that could be a serious battle between Luke Masterson and Burney. I will admit Burney gives you a little bit more special teams value. He's definitely, though, on the hot seat. Let's go to number 9, and guess what? We're going to go right back to the linebacker room, and everything that I just stated about Burney, you can absolutely apply that to Masterson, a player who, according to the PFF, was actually one of the better players that the Raiders had and definitely the better coverage guy and has done a good job since he was a UDFA coming out of Wake Forest. But this was somebody that kind of got his footing going with McDaniels, Ziegler, he's 100% shown, Patrick Graham, that he has the ability and a little bit of a sponge to be able to absorb some information and go out there and get it done. But again, if the Raiders decide to keep only 4 linebackers, which I do think is a realistic possibility, that way they can keep maybe an extra lineman, maybe you keep an extra corner, maybe you keep an extra safety, a defensive end. It happens year in and year out. And if this organization is picking between Masterson and Burney, which I do think is the 5-4 combination of the linebacker depth chart, they're going to have to make a tough decision. Maybe they keep both of them. Bottom line is, though, it's absolutely a possibility that both Burney and Masterson do not make this squad this upcoming season. So my question to all of you out there is this, and I'm going to be asking a lot of questions here on today's show because I ask questions every show here on the Raiders Report. How many linebackers make the Raiders roster? So there's going to be a 53-man cut down. David Agoa, who is the International Pathway Program player, he automatically makes this team just because it doesn't make any sense to cut him. You keep him, you keep that extra player. But in terms of linebackers, how many make it? 3, 4, 5, 2? Let me know down below. And if you want to know my answer that I have most recently featured in a video, I put out a video every single day, at least one on this channel. We go live 3 times at least a week in the off season. And I put out a video, Raiders 53-man roster projection if the season started today. Find out how many linebackers I put in this one. This video is also going to be available to y'all down in the comments and in the description of today's show. I got to give a shout out to the Noti Gang, people that I know watch that show and watch all of our shows here and take pride of hitting that subscribe button, taking pride in turning on that notification bell, and every time I drop a vid, get down in their comments. So Ron, Isaac, Dominique, Suicide Guns, shout out to you. Believe me, I see it and I appreciate it. Let's go to number 8 here. It's Isaiah Polamayo, strong safety. And the Raiders re-signed him this offseason. And this is another player that I do like, and I think that he's a hell of a versatile player, can offer you a bunch of different things in terms of a box linebacker, strong safety, put on a little bit of weight last season, and shows flashes in the pan of being a good, reliable player. But then again, you have Merrick, you have Marcus Epps. Those are your top 2 safeties. The Raiders drafted Trey Taylor in the 7th round, and I know it's in the 7th round, but that's a guy that I actually am very surprised ended up going in round 7. Solid dude. Best defensive back in college football last season was the award that he won. I'm not saying that he is the best DB in college, or obviously he would have went a lot earlier. But to me, the Raiders got to make a choice. Like, do you decide to keep Polamayo? Do you decide to keep a guy that was drafted in the 5th round and Chris Smith the 2nd last season? A lot of tough decisions, and kind of like what we were looking here with Burney and Masterson, I'm going to say the exact same thing here for Isaiah Polamayo and Chris Smith. Burney drafted in the 6th round, Masterson, UDFA. Isaiah Polamayo, UDFA. Chris Smith drafted in the 5th round. And we didn't get to see him all that much. This is a player, though, that Chuggs was pretty high on. And from some of the coaches that I know in the Raiders organization, this is a guy that's just got it up here, okay? Really, really smart player and is already way ahead of his time is what I've been told. He might not have the most athletically gifted body, and I don't know how much special teams value he truly is able to give to this organization. But man, oh man, Chris Smith in the 5th round, new regime, absolutely going to be fighting for that roster spot. Before I get into the top 6 players that made the roster last year that I think are the most likely to miss it this season, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor, PrizePicks. $100 deposit match when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and you use code CLNS for those first-time depositors. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with NBA, NHL, and MLB entries today on PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. I know I ask a lot of questions on this show, and I also know that a lot of times I give my predictions on some of the things that I'm going for on PrizePicks. So you know what? Depending on what you guys vote for here is what I'm going to go with. Right now, the only 2 things that you can do on PrizePicks both revolve around Brock Bowers. You can either go Brock Bowers receiving yards or Brock Bowers receiving touchdowns. For the sake of this argument and for the sake of the show, I want to see what you pick here. Do you believe the tight end, wide receiver hybrid out of Georgia that the Raiders drafted at number 13 overall, is he going to have more or less than 5.5 receiving touchdowns? Chuggs is going like this. So let's hammer the more on this one. And if you want to take advantage of this over at PrizePicks right now, Go win some money. Go put your money where your mouth is. And if you want to get started, again, you can find that link. It's going to be available to you all down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Shout out to them for sponsoring today's show. Let's go to the cornerback position here. Jacorian Bennett, drafted in round 4. In fact, the Raiders traded up for him in round 4 in the 2023 NFL draft. And when he was on the field last season, well, maybe he was matching his number because he was a 0. And I was surprised because I was really hoping that Jacorian was going to look a lot better on film. He's a good athlete. I'm telling y'all right now, Bennett is a good athlete. Just needs to figure out the technique. And the leap that I'm hoping that he takes is the leap that Trevon Merrick did compared to year 1 with Patrick Graham to year 2 with Patrick Graham. Much different, right? A guy like Malcolm Kuntz. Year 1 with Patrick Graham, I'm going to blame that a little bit more on McDaniels, then gets some good coaches, Antonio Pierce in the mix, takes that leap forward. He has an opportunity, but what if he loses out to DeCamerion Richardson, loses out to MJ Devonshire, and let's not sleep on Sam Webb, a player that I feel like every single year we just kind of ignore, but seems to find a way to get his spot on this team by the end of the season. And then Brandon Faison is a player that I 100% would move on from, but he has somehow figured out a way to keep a spot here on this roster. Next name coming up here on our roster bubble candidates, people that made the team last year that I don't know if they're going to make it this year. Nesta Jade Silvera at the defensive tackle position. There's a lot of rumors out there around certain players, certain things. Not too much stuff going on around Nesta Jade. Here's the thing, though. Actions speak louder than words, and the Raiders have shown you that they wanted to put a big old stamp at the defensive tackle position. You go out, you sign a Christian Wilkins. You go out, you re-sign Adam Butler, re-sign John Jenkins. And as it stands right now, like, the defensive tackle room is one of the strongest rooms out there for the Raiders, especially if Tyree Wilson is going to get some work on the interior, which he absolutely is. Did the Silver and Black decide to bring back Nesta Jade Silvera and Marquan McCall? Yes, they did. However, though, just because Silvera has some of those AP ties back from their days with the Sun Devils does not make him a lock to make this team, on top of the fact that it's a brand new regime. What I really think this one comes down to is who ends up winning a battle between Nesta Jade and a guy like Byron Young. So Byron Young was drafted in round 3, picked 74 overall by Ziegler and Josh McDaniels, and did not get any playing time really last season. Was a healthy scratch multiple times. From what I was told, he actually looked pretty good in June and July. Then he suffered a minor injury and was never really able to get back up to full strength. So I'm curious to see what if that was the reason that really zapped him of some of his potential last season. You're not only talking about a rookie year, but also dealing with injury. I'm hoping that he's a little bit better this upcoming season. But again, there is a lot of bodies there on the interior. And depending on how many DTs that this organization decides to keep, Byron Young might be one of the odd men out. So here's the fun game to play. I want you to pick one to keep. Let's say, because right now as it stands, the Raiders have 3 open roster spots. Let's say the Raiders do something really nice and they go out and they sign 3 players that could potentially start and are better than all of these guys. But then that means you got to only keep one of them. Are you going to keep Byron Young, type BY? Are you going to keep Nesta Jade Silvera, NS, Jacorian Bennett, JB, Chris Smith, CS? For me personally, I am going to end up keeping Jacorian Bennett. And the reason why that I'm keeping Bennett is because of the depth. I am more confident in our defensive tackles than I am our cornerback room. I think that's safe to say. I'm also more confident in our safeties in Merrick and Epps than I am just our top corners. Jacorian has an opportunity to potentially start for this team. So for that reason, I'm going to keep Jacorian Bennett. Let's go to number 3, and this is where I really think that this list kind of begins here. Jordan Meredith on the offensive line. Meredith was a player that I could not believe / it was 100% a McDaniels, Ziegler type of move. Did they bring him back this offseason? Yes, they did. It's a cheap contract, and he does give you some of that guard flexibility. If you want to lean on Cody Whitehair a little bit more and then want maybe something more from like a Johanning, a guy that's a UDFA, Delmar Glaze there, Munford show you something nice. What if Dalton Wagner really steps up or something this offseason? You could go a lot of different directions here. I've also heard that the organization likes McKenzie as a potential offensive tackle. So if you really just want to rely on Whitehair to be that interior guard, and you also drafted Glaze, who gives you some offensive guard flexibility there, Munford, who gives you some offensive guard flexibility, just the name to be able to throw out there and keep in mind. Let's go to cornerback now, Brandon Faison. And despite Faison being injured for essentially the entire year, He did make the initial 53-man roster, which, again, is just more of a head-scratcher, and it's probably one of the just many, many reasons that McDaniels isn't around anymore. The Raiders knew that he wasn't going to be able to play for a very, very long time, and yet he still made this team, and he did not get put on IR right away. The NFL does have new IR rules when it comes to the 53-man roster, so, like, you can put a guy on IR and then keep another player instead of, like, having to keep him and then putting him on the IR, and then you could sign somebody later. I like the rules a little bit better this season. The reason why he's on here, though, is because you can cut him and save $2.6 million. The way contracts are starting to work, you could find a player that I do believe helps your team a lot more succeed right away than Brandon Facyson. $2.6 million, I'll take that money. But the number one, and I'll be real, this one to me is not all that close, and if I'm wrong in saying that, I owe this guy a sorry card. The number one player most likely to not make the team this season that made it last year, and again, I don't think it's close, Christian Wilkerson at the wide receiver position. I can't believe Wilkerson made the roster last season, and I'm not trying to take anything away from him, right? I'm sure he worked his tail off. All these guys have stories that I'm sure are great stories. But let's face it, he made this team because he was a Patriot. And I don't know if you could tell me something different than that. Like, did he do anything in preseason, a certain action that was like, wow, I can't believe this guy made it? To me, all it was McDaniels knew he had somebody in his corner, and that's why Wilkerson made this team. Like, he hung around on the roster on the practice squad. Like, you got to give him a little bit of credit there. But because the Raiders, you know, you go out, you sign Michael Gallup, you draft Brock Bowers, you got Jacoby, you got Devontae, you got Trey Tucker. Like, I don't see how in the world Christian Wilkerson ends up making this silver and black roster this season. Maybe he finds himself on the practice squad, but I think if you were to ask 100 Raider fans out there, will Christian Wilkerson make the roster? I think 90 fans say no. I think 10 fans say, who the hell is that guy? So one more time here, we got roster bubble candidates coming in here, and this list is 10 players that made the team last season that I could see not making the team this upcoming season. I will admit there is a really, really big tier break with Meredith, Facyson, and then another really, really big tier break with Christian Wilkerson. If you watched today's show and you enjoyed it, hey, make sure that you're sharing our content here. I want the Raiders Report to continue to grow. And sometimes we find the best fans of the nation, the best fans of the Raiders Report, the people that just, quite frankly, I'm the most down to grab a beer with. People that watch the show May, June, and July. Why? If you're watching the Raiders Report in May, June, and July, you're a diehard. You're a real one, and those are the people that I like to associate myself with. So please, hit up Chuggs and I. Continue to tune in all offseason. I promise you this, we're going to bring that commitment to excellence every single day here on the Raiders Report because it's what we do. I want you got to show the face. You got to show the face. No, not going to do it? Not going to do it. Shout out to the nation for tuning in to the Raiders Report. Come on!
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
You got to do it. You got to do it one day.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You got to do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You got it. I believe in you. Isaac, I'm more loyal to Raider Nation than I am to my marriage. I don't know if that's good, Isaac. I also don't know if that's something you type. That's now it's there forever. Your wife's probably going to go back, watch the Raiders Report, and be like, I can't believe nobody's banged on a Thursday happy hour show. And then she's going to see that comment. Wild. All right, Chuggs, I got to switch up my jersey. I'll admit, the jersey I'm about to put on, I have a feeling they might bang. And if they do, that's a boo. Navman also wants to be in the jersey raffle if he's not in already.
I'll put him in.
He is in. You in. What up, Abby Jansen? What up, West Coast Spartan? Daniel Jimenez.
Let's get it popping.
Brand new whip.
Is that? Oh. I think he sent this in for some hush money.
For some hush money? Isaac Hernandez! Bang! Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
I didn't know when that was gonna end.
See, now Isaac's wife won't have to look through because there is a bang today.
There we go. Hush money. That's hush money at its finest. That's hush money at its finest. That's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, where every year Alex is always like,
it'd be such a bad idea if Taino banged and you had to do a boo.
You're not wrong.
That'd be such a bad idea.
Alex every year is always like, can we go on vacation? And she always asks like right after the Super Bowl. Somehow she always like asks like right before April, right? And we were like joking like, hey babe, I got us we're gonna go on a cruise for a week. She's gonna be super hyped. It's like it's a Raiders cruise. I mean, I love Alex to death, and she would probably agree with this. I would much rather go on that cruise with you than I would with her.
I think she would much rather you go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure Danny would love to go on a cruise with you, but if you told her like we're gonna go on a cruise for a week, she's hyped, and then she finds out it's a Raiders cruise, and I'm not trying to put words in Danny's mouth or Alex's mouth, but like we talk so much Raiders all the time, and we work a lot that it's like when we take a vacation, Alex's like only role is let's just let's get away from it a little bit, just you and me time. Dude, I'm telling you right now.
The one vacation we go on, it's just as soon as you step on the boat, Raiders! I don't think there's any other team with a cruise, though. Is there a Giants cruise? I don't think so.
Nope.
Yeah, if you haven't heard about it yet, go look it up online. There's a cruise of entirely Raiders fans being set for next year.
Imagine a humongous cruise ship, okay? Humongous cruise ship. Former Raiders players will be there as well. And it's like all you can eat, all you can drink. There's different deals and stuff like that. And then, yep. Taino Raider Bang! Oh man, I think
cruise. Killer Cruisin'.
I think Thursday happy hour is about to get wild.
Killer Cruisin' said, what would it take to put on my jersey?
All right, how about this? Let me knock back this boot. I'm gonna try to wheel in the jerseys.
You should.
I should. It's not strong enough.
It will fall.
Okay.
I'm 1,000% positive you won't make it out of the hallway.
You don't think?
I don't think you will.
Okay.
Without dropping a single jersey.
Oh, it's we have a hanger here that's basically made to carry probably like 40 jerseys would be a lot.
There's like 100 on there.
Like 100? There's way more than 100.
Mitch overextended this.
What?
This
jersey?
This hanger.
Yep. All right. So you know what? If I have your jersey, I will do this. If you bang and I have your jersey, I will run back, grab the jersey, do a beer bong. Every time. Every time.
There you have
it.
Though
after this segment, because I can't do it during the segment. We got one more segment coming up here on the show, and then that's the deal.
Fernando says I'm going on that cruise. Let me know. Would you go on that Raiders cruise? Yes or no? Let me know down in the comments section. Would you go on a Raider cruise? Marshall, would you go on a Raiders cruise? There's a cruise next year that's going to be all Raiders fans. Marsh said if Rebel's there, I'm there. Just a dad and his son out to sea. I see Big Luck saying yes. Irvin saying yes. Lost in Time saying, hell yeah. G Money said, let's go. Cruising all day said, what day? I think it might be a Tuesday.
What? The cruise? March 23rd or the 30th. If you're talking about Jersey, it's today.
I think he's talking about the cruise.
The cruise is March 23rd to the 30th.
Oh, Uncle Doobie, we would have to go crazy to be able to do that.
What?
He said cruise ticket raffle?
I would have to get more information because I will say this. And maybe this is wrong for me to say it. I don't think if we did a ticket giveaway, like it's not too good, I think, to just do like one ticket. Like you should probably give away two just because you don't know who wins everything. And the only reason why I say that is like, what happens if a 17-year-old who watches the show wins our raffle? They can't go, right? Like now you're in a situation where it's like, I don't necessarily know what I got to do. So if we did something like that, it would have to be for 2 tickets. And
It's not cheap.
I mean, from what I saw, you could get the one room that holds like 4 people. That would be the cheapest one. That's $2,200 for a week. Like again, like it's a all-inclusive cruise, but when you also look at a lot of other cruise prices, it's like I don't know. I'll say this: I don't know if I would do it in year 1. Like I'm just being honest. I don't know if I would do it in year 1. I would want to see what it is like, and then be okay with getting my ticket. Because if you spend all that money, and what if it's not well put together? Like it's the first year, and anytime the first thing happens, there's always kinks in it. You know what I mean? I hope it works out well. I will say this: if the Raiders want Chuggs and I to go, and they're willing to help us go, and then we'll spread the word, I'm in. If the Raiders hit us up and they're like, we want you guys there.
I'm only going if Marshall's going. Marsh, are you down? All right, the room holds 4, so we have one more spot.
One more spot.
Yodes.
I'm not even kidding you. Yodes would probably be down. Dude, he would so be in. He would so be in. So we could all get a room. We all stay together. I'm not gonna lie, that'd be pretty electric. All right, Tom.
Somebody say must be just a Cincy issue.
Somebody send Stone up there to figure it out.
Isaac, cheers to my brother who retired yesterday from the Marine Corps. 20 years infantry retired.
That's 20 years. That's insane. 20 years is amazing, man.
I couldn't imagine doing any job, let alone one of the hardest jobs in the world, being a Marine for 20 years. I couldn't imagine doing this for 20 years. Like me and Mitch always say, like, in 20 years, what are we going to be doing with the Raiders report?
I have no idea. I mean,
can you be a 50-something-year-old man banging?
That's like, I literally had this conversation the other day where I was like, at what point am I like in that age where I'm like, beer bongs are not cool anymore, and a backwards jersey, well, now the tuxedos just kind of seem effed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll happen. It'll happen at some point, but until that day happens, I'm going to keep riding, man. And I kind of told Alex, I was like, I think once we have kids, as soon as we have kids, then I got to start acting like an adult a little bit more. After that, or before that, I'm allowed to party. All I have to go home to tonight, Chuck's going to be hyped. Alex and I are going to clean. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, we just got to get the house together here. Thank you for your service, too. I also say this, to be in the military, and I hope people that are in the military don't take this the wrong way, because I'm definitely not in that boat, but I also know that being in the military is probably one of the most underappreciated jobs in all of America. Like, I would put it up there with, like, being a nurse, being a teacher has got to be really, really tough. But, I mean, being in the military, like, you know, it's why I kind of get mad at times, like, when you got these players that get so upset about the money, and they're like, oh, my body and all this and that, and I get it, but I've also talked to a lot of Marines out there, and I mean, Isaac, if you were going to make $12 million a year, and if they wanted to, like, again, this is one of my military buddies is like, put a camera on me, put me out in Afghanistan, stream it live, and, like, make it entertainment. He's like, I would do that in a heartbeat. Like, it's an insane thing to say out loud, but for people in those shoes, you know, you come back and what is it then? Like, I don't know. Isaac, so seriously, 20 years, man, that is very, very, Thank you for your service. Thank you for your buddy. Cruisin', another guy who's served. What's up, Cruisin'? What will it take for my jersey? You got to bang. If I got your jersey, you bang today, I'll go throw the jersey on until somebody else bangs.
After this segment.
After this segment, correct. After this segment.
All right, speaking of segment, let's get into this segment.
Nico, 12 mil. Give me 100K. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, injuries in the NFL are scary. Injuries in the military are a lot scarier. Lot scarier. Coming up here on the show, we're going to be talking about UDFAs. Real talk, if you're watching a UDFA video in May, you're a real one. Also, Ira Jackson has stepped in here, Mount Raider More royalty, and he said, put me in for that duck race, Mitch. Right now, the duck race, $20 Venmo, you would win $60 here on the Raiders report. I'm in. Let's go. I'm in. Let's get it started in here.
Let's rock today.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. That boot's kind of kicking my butt. This boot's kind of kicking my butt a little bit. Also, I'm pretty sure Chuck, like last week, broke my finger. My knuckle is so effed. I was like walking him, and Chuck's like he gets scared very easily, and he's deathly afraid of the garbage truck. So I was walking him, and he like jumped to the side, and I wasn't quite holding his leash right, and dude like ripped my finger. It's black and blue at the tip. It looks bad. Luis, sneaky breakout star this year. So the way that I consider a breakout star is this: cannot be a rookie, and has to be going in like breakout is about to have a career year. I will say Michael Mayer. I know that they just drafted Brock Bowers is definitely somebody that I would throw out there. I think Dylan Parham is about to have a big year. I also think Andre James is about to have a breakout year. Epps, Malcolm Kuntz. You know what? Let's go Tyree Wilson. I think Tyree Wilson's going to light it up. And then Cruisin' Bang! What up, Killa? Well, let's make it happen. I was Afghan, and I wish I would make a mill being out there. I mean, I'll tell you this right now. After spending one day with Killa, that guy's protecting my back. And, you know, it's one of those things where you talk about, like, NFL athletes being just at a totally different peak of athletic ability. Olympic athletes, athletic ability. To be in military, you got to be cut from a different cloth. And to be able, like, Killa's got that ability to turn it on in a second. Like, even like in my time, like when I was talking to Nico, the short times I've done that, like, you got to be able to go from lackadaisical to, in a second, switch it on. Not everybody's built from that cloth. So, Killa, as soon as I get done with this segment here, I'm going to throw on your jersey. We're going to knock back a beer bong, and we're going to keep this thing rocking and rolling. My question, though, out there to the nation is this: how many UDFAs make the roster? Because coming up here on the show, I'm going to be talking about and ranking the top five UDFAs most likely to make the roster this upcoming season. Killa, I'm going to hold off on that beer bong. I'm going to do it in your jersey, and then we're going to get happy hour really kicked off here and get it going. I will tell everybody right now, Chuggs and I, depending on how happy hour goes after this next segment, will kind of dictate how long we were going to stay. If you don't already know, this is like Jeremy's like 10th day in a row working. So, and then yesterday was my first off day in like the last 2 weeks, and I moved for probably like 14, 15 hours. I'm not trying to make an excuse, but
But that is one.
It's a little bit of an excuse. I'm just saying, we feed off of y'all. So if you want to keep this thing rocking, I'm telling y'all, we need y'all to rock with us. It's the only way. I'm telling you. You ready?
I'm ready.
Y'all ready? After this, happy hour. Let's get it going here on the Raiders Report. Raider Nation, what's going on? If you haven't already, smash that like button right now, because coming up here on today's show, I got my top 5 UDFAs that could make the Raiders 53-man roster. If you're not fired up watching this video, the reason why that I say that is if you're a Raider fan watching Raiders YouTube videos in May, I salute you. If you're a Raider fan watching Raiders YouTube videos in May around undrafted free agents, you're what I like to call a real one. And I need real ones here on the Raiders Report. It's how you get this thing to grow. Like, I'm not trying to put on a Chargers watch party. I'm not trying to do a Chiefs tailgate. The Raiders Report, I want that to be an Oakland tailgate all day, every day. And the only way you're making that happen is if you get some real ones in there. So the people that are watching this show, real one out there, subscribe if you're the biggest Raider fan that you know. And if you know somebody that's a big Raider fan, I want you to send this link to them. Say, hey, have you subscribed to the show? I think you're going to like it a lot. So coming up here, we're going to be ranking from 5 down to 1. The player that's ranked number 1 is the player that I believe out of the UDFAs is the most likely to make this roster. Let's go to number 5 here on my list. I got Amari Gaynor, linebacker edge out of North Carolina, and is a player that I have said before that I do like. I actually thought that he was going to end up getting drafted, and depending on how the Raiders want to use him is what's going to dictate how much work that he gets. I'll admit, the way that I think Gaynor ends up making this roster is kind of think of the way the role that Curtis Bolton played last season for this team. Could offer you a good run stopper, offered you a little bit of ability if you needed to get after the quarterback, was a good athlete, but his biggest thing is a gunner. And a lot of times for these players here, the way that it has to work out is you need somebody that can fill the hole and go up and make some moves. 237 tackles from his time with the North Carolina Tar Heels. He had 51 pressures, 11.6% pressure win rate. You want to talk about a shuffle, 4.32 shuffle. Those are some of the numbers that I like for a linebacker, but at 4.6 40-yard dash, somebody that has some playing experience, the way that he makes this roster, again, playing that Curtis Bolton type of role. And it's going to be tough because the only way that he makes this team is if the Raiders decide to keep 5 linebackers. Spillane, Diablo, Eichenberg, I would say are the locks of the group, though Diablo, it could be somebody, if they decide to move on from somebody, could be someone to throw out there. Luke Masterson, Amari Burney, other names absolutely to keep in mind. But then again, Gaynor also gives you just a little bit of ability of being able to go out and get the quarterback. And there's a part of me that almost thinks that it might be easier for him to make the roster as just a true edge, which is kind of why we have him listed here as the edge depth chart, not so much as just the linebacker one. Janarius Robinson, we'll see if he ends up making this team. Gaynor could be a sneaky under-the-radar player like a Malcolm Kuntz in 2 to 3 years. Not so much 8 sacks, Kuntz, but more of like 3.5, 4 sacks. Let's go to number 4 here on the list, and it's Carter Bradley at the quarterback position. The Silver and Black will keep 3 quarterbacks this season. Gardner Minshew, going to make the roster. Aiden O'Connell, going to make the roster. Then it comes down to a little bit of a quarterback battle, and money talks a lot, and that's kind of how I've dictated this show around money, because you can talk about stats, you can talk about how these guys played in college. What did the Raiders do financially? And depending on how much money they gave a lot of these UDFAs, tells me what they think of them. It also tells me how much money they're willing to invest. And it's just like real life. If you invest more money, you're going to spend a little bit more time and energy on that certain asset. They gave him $25,000 bonus, $125,000 guaranteed. He's also the son of former Raiders defensive coordinator Gus Bradley, and just being around football and talking to some of the players, actually having a QB whose dad is a defensive coordinator, it helps you see the field a little bit more, and I think his ability to help out the Raiders in practice, like Carter Bradley ain't getting on the playing field. He's not. But in the practice world, can he give you more ability, and can he help out defense? Can he help out receivers, tight ends, and practice more than Anthony Brown Jr.? If he proves to be a more valuable asset in the practice squad on practice than Anthony Brown, then that's going to be the guys they're going to keep around. So if you could pick a quarterback 3, who would you pick? And this is going to be the pinned comment here on today's show. You're going to go Carter Bradley, type CB. Are you going to go Anthony Brown Jr.? I want you to type AB. Now, usually on this show, man, I'm spamming FAB. But the reason I will still bet my money on Anthony Brown is because he offers you something a little bit different, athletic ability. He is the most athletic quarterback that the Raiders have with Gardner Minshew and with Aiden O'Connell. It's not saying a lot, but it's a fact. And if you want a QB that can run a little bit, he's your guy. If you want a quarterback that fits more of that mold of what you currently have and you want to be able to operate practice with what you currently have, then maybe Carter Bradley is the better option. And coming up next here on the show, I got my top 3 UDFAs to make the Raiders roster. And number one, I think, is the name that people might suspect. Number two, though, is a guy that I'm really, really starting to fall in love with. And I was really, really big on Adam Plant Jr. last season, and I hope that he's doing well. Adam, I've been watching you doing your thing in your leagues. But, like, this guy at number two, he might be my Adam Plant Jr. He's a guy that I'm falling in love with. Somebody who I love very, very much. Mom, best mom in the world. She is my ride or die. Talk to her all the time. Just bought her a juicer. She's absolutely in love with it. But my mom was not a Raider fan. My mom's not a fan, really, of sports in general. But I've recently bought my mom. She's got a Raiders hoodie. She's got a Raiders t-shirt. She's now got a Raiders coffee mug, but she uses it for her juicer. And, like, my mom's not all that into sports. I'll be real with y'all. She's not much into sports. But she's always supported me in anything that I did. And because now I do this show, there's been times where I call her and she's rocking a Raiders shirt. She's rocking a Raiders sweater. And I love it because she'll, like, text me and be like, hey, look what I'm wearing. Bottom line is, if you got that special lady in your life, whether it's your mom, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your baby mama, your girlfriend, maybe your daughter, she's a mom, right? And you're a happy grandparent. Get that special lady in your life something nice. Chatsports.com/RaiderMom. If you got another special lady in your life, and you guys know what I'm talking about, I will just say, I dare you to click chatsports.com/RaiderMilf. That's all I'm going to say. It's a real link. It exists. You can go on your tab right now. You can go up into Google. You know, like, you never see that cat meme? Chatsports.com/RaiderMilf. It exists. Get your MILF something nice. Get your mom something nice. Bottom line is, I think women in general, the fact that they can literally create a human being is the most unbelievable thing in the entire world. If you don't get that special lady in your life something special for Mother's Day, shame on you. Chatsports.com/RaiderMom, or for the daring ones out there, chatsports.com/RaiderMilf. Let's go to number 3 here. I got Tulu Griffin at the wide receiver position. What's funny is there's going to be some UDFA that's never seen this show in their entire life, and I guarantee you they're going to be like, hey, Ma, hey, Dad, some guy on YouTube's talking about me. Let's watch it together, and then they're going to see that whole MILF thing, and they're going to be like, you can't watch this guy anymore. If it happens, it happens. But, hey, at the end of the day, we're family. We're going to talk the way that I talk with my family. We got Tulu Griffin. His real name is Leaderick. 126 grabs. The reason why I have him at number 3 is not so much because of his wide receiver ability, but more of just his kick returning ability, special teams ability. Again, for a UDFA to make the roster, you can't just do one thing. You got to do a multitude of things. You got to be able to run routes. You got to be able to catch the football, but you also got to be able to help essentially play special teams. Like, think about any job that you had. When I first started here at Chat Sports, I was working on Facebook. I was doing 100 different things. Why? I had to show that I was willing to do whatever it took to be able to make the squad. And I made the squad. And now I got to the point that I'm at. These guys, these UDFAs, they got to be able to do the exact same thing. And I think for a guy like Tulu, he might be able to find an interesting roster spot for special teams. Let's go to number 2 here. Ron Stone. And Ron Stone is, I want you guys to look up Ron Stone this weekend. When you get some free time, watch him. You're going to like him a lot. He gives a lot of effort. And for a UDFA, I know, you got to be able to play multiple positions. For the edge position, especially for a UDFA, I want a guy that hustles. I want a guy that's got heart. I want a dude that, no disrespect to you, Ron, if you watch this show, shout out to you. Not the most athletic player for NFL talent, but he's got it in here. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm willing to bet on a guy that's got it in here because he's going to put his time and his effort. And then if you're also working next to a guy like Maxx Crosby and you have it in here, but you might not have that athletic ability, you might not ever be a player that's getting us double-digit sacks. But can he be a reliable edge rusher? And if we need 10 snaps a game, that's a guy, he goes out there 10 snaps, he's giving 110%. You gave him a $20,000 signing bonus, $170,000 guaranteed. That's the second most of all UDFAs. 31.5 tackles for loss, 16 sacks, good 40 time, good player, nice win rate on top of that. But because of his chance to make this team, is Janarius Robinson going to make it? I don't know. And out of everybody else, I'm telling you this right now, Stone is a fun player, and the Raiders invested some money in him. So how about this? You tell me right now which UDFA is the most likely to make the roster. And if you can count, which, you know, King Zay watching right now. King Zay, it's all love. Not everybody can count down. We're going to go 2. We're about to go to 1. This is the number 1 player that I believe is the most likely to make this team, and his name is Jaquan Shepard, cornerback from Maryland. Another player that I had a draftable grade on him, and we thought that he could be a player that sneaks into the back end of round 7. The reason why he's number 1 on this list, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it in any other way, it's this right here, dinero, right? $25,000 bonus, which that's what they gave to a quarterback. Think about quarterback, cornerback, money right there guaranteed, but $230,000 guaranteed. It's like top 15 in terms of overall money given out to UDFAs. Usually when a UDFA is given that much money, they're going to have a little bit of a longer of a leash. 95 tackles, 81.3 quarterback rating against him, and he's done some good stuff in college, right? It's Big Ten talent. Also former teammate of Jacorian Bennett, so maybe that's somebody that can be a little bit more reliable for Bennett to be like that guy he can lean on. And I do think that the Raiders, I shouldn't even say I do think, I know for a fact the Raiders want Jacorian Bennett to work out. Hell, they want every young player on their roster to take the leap that Malcolm Kuntz just did. And if you believe that you could potentially help out a young man that you see a lot in, but maybe he just needs a few more guys in his corner. And, you know, the one part that we just don't really talk about all that much, because a lot of the things that we discuss are things that we see on Sunday, where there's a lot of other behind-the-scenes stuff that happens all the other days of the weekend. What if Jacorian's not the best locker room fit? What if Jacorian's having a hard time making friends? What if he's just not the guy that he has the confidence and swagger that he did at Maryland? Because just like anybody in life, if you don't have confidence in what you're doing, you're not going to be as good as what you can potentially be. And Jacorian out there on the field on Sunday showed me a player that did not have a lot of confidence and was second-guessing. The way that you are great, and I think Merrick really spoke well on this last season, where everybody's good in the NFL. Every single person. And if you're just a half a second slow, you're going to be too late. And if you can go out there and stop thinking and just reacting and playing because you're confident, that can go very far. So I'm wondering if Jaquan Shepard is one of these players that can help Jacorian Bennett really achieve the most he can. And I'm wondering if some of the money that they gave him could be a reason in that. But Jaquan Shepard is the number 1 most likely UDFA to make this Raiders roster. And like I said at the start of the show, if you made it here, we always give a shout out to the Noti gang. I'm going to tell Chuggs, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, when we go live again, which is going to be Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to pick 5 people that watch this video that spammed RO4L. Because again, if you're spamming RO4L and you made it to the end of this show in the month of May on UDFAs, that to me is what a real one is. That to me is somebody that I can look at and say, you know what, we're not family, like blood-wise, but we are family because we bleed silver and black. Yeah? Yeah? Real ones? If you're a real one, spam it down below. To all the UDFAs out there, though, real talk, I wish you guys the best of luck. And if any UDFA wants to join the Raiders Report, you hit me up on IG, you hit me up on Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365, and we're going to make it happen this offseason. Carlos, proud to be a Raider fan and appreciate the great content you guys put out. Always a good time, and thank you. Speaking of down to have a good time, Chuggs, I got to go run. I got to go grab my Killer Cruisin' jersey.
Go do it.
It is officially happy hour, and Chuggs, this is what we're going to do. We are going to put 30 minutes on the clock. We're going to put 30 minutes on the clock here, and if you guys want to party with us, we got 30 minutes to do it. We also have 2 duck races to do on top of that. And if you want us to extend the show, we'll make a few deals along the way in order for that to happen. So, we got 700 people here watching. I see a bunch of real ones. Michael, Ron, Sienna, Asian, I'm Punchy, Travis B, Raider E, shout out to the Queen, Bobby Ortiz, Jose Gonzalez. Seriously, shout out to all y'all out there. As soon as Chuggs puts that happy hour clock up here and takes me off screen, Killa, I'm gonna go throw on your jersey, and then we're gonna get the ball rolling here a little bit here on the Raiders Report. Carlos, shout out to you, man. Other super chat I saw was from Mario that said, shout out to all the moms out there, real one for life. I mean, you know, I wish that there was a comparison for, like, we actually had somebody ask before if we would do the contraction machine, or it's something like that it's called, where it's supposed to like simulate how painful it is to give birth. I don't know if we could ever do that. All right, I'll be right back.
Mario Special shout out to all the moms out there and all the MILFs. Real one for life. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody out there. One more reminder, if you want to get in on the 50-50 raffle, $20 Venmo to enter that, John. Or if you want to Venmo Mitch and get on the Raiders Report Zoom call with some of the legends here at Chat Sports, some of the legends of Mount Raider, more like David Zahn. $50 Venmo gets you in to the Raiders Report Zoom call next Wednesday. Be there or be square. C1 Riz, ain't nothing like a Raider party. I mean, ain't nothing like a Raider cruise, apparently. Ain't nothing like a Raider cruise. Is there? I wonder if there's a Giants cruise or like a Vikings cruise. There should be a Vikings cruise. There should definitely be a Vikings cruise. West Coast Spartan says, I like to party. You won't.
So right now, the only people that are in our Zoom call is me and Zahn. The only people in our Zoom call right now is Zahn and I. And
That'll be a hell of a Zoom.
I'll tell you this. Me one-on-one with Zahn, I love Zahn because he's like always down to communicate, always down to talk. And he loves these Zoom calls. I think it's really, really cool to see. Killa, cheers to you, brother.
I think a Vikings cruise would be called a pillaging.
See, the Raiders, though, they pillage just for fun.
Yeah? That's always an interesting, a Raider and a Viking. Like real life.
Have you ever, there was an old show where they would do like simulations of like.
I know exactly. Deadliest Warrior.
Dude, I love that show. Do you think, here's the thing, who wins, a Viking or a warrior? I don't know.
Looks like you need to run back there, Mitch.
Husker Raider bang! All right, so for every person that put in a $2 super chat, it's because of this guy right here.
So I'm going to give away a free entry to 2 people.
Yep.
Who spam Husker right now.
And Husker, unfortunately, I don't have your new jersey yet.
Oh,
I gave it to Graf, and I don't, because of the NFL draft, and I know we have so many jerseys backed up. Like, I got probably, like, in my queue of jerseys to order, probably, like, 20 of them. You're probably right up there at the front there, Husker. I don't have it yet because I gave it to Graf. So, unfortunately, Husker, I don't have yours. Killa, which I guess good news for you is I get to still rock yours.
But that is a bong.
That is one. I said a bang, bang, bangity bang. I said a bang, bang, bangity bang. I said a bang, bang, bangity bang. I said a bang, bang, bangity bang.
Let's see. Let's go with. Keep them coming.
Husker said, no worries, Mitch. Put on my 52 Raider. That's you.
Yeah?
That's you, right? I don't think I have that. Because I got Husker.
I think I got the Raider.
And you got Raider.
So G Money is the first one.
Husker.
And Frisco Enriquez is number 2. Number 2.
Pick number 2, my lord. Also, Chuggs, we are 1 like away from 600 and another wheel spin. 1 like away from 600 and another wheel spin here on the Raiders Report. Did you already give 2 spots away?
Mm-hmm.
Chuggs already gave 2 spots away. If you want to shout out here, though, real quick, and this is why I love this show, it's because people like Husker pull up. They do wild and crazy shit, but they do it for the nation, and they do it so y'all have a good time when you watch this show. That's why the Raider Nation is built different. Spin it again. We already did karaoke. Spin it again. I want one more. Unless it's 50 jumping jacks, then you can do karaoke. I'll tell you what, the wheel wants you to sing.
All right, we'll try it one more time.
All right, one more time. If it's karaoke again, then the gods have spoken.
There we go.
All right, let's go back to karaoke. I don't want that. That's brutal. That is absolutely brutal.
Damn. Brutal.
In the words of one wise man, damn. Brutal. Hey, while you're back there, can you grab a 91 for me?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. Justin Abjin! Bang! Mr. Abjin! Haven't been able to watch much, but always have time to bang. I mean, you got 4 kids. We know. We know. Abjin, an absolute legend here. All right, Chuggs. Dude, are you going to pick for me what I'm getting?
Well, no, I was going to say you can pick, but you got to sing this song.
Achy, breaky heart. Well, no. Does that mean I still owe a jelly bean? So I got to sing and eat a jelly bean. I feel like I'm getting the shit end of this deal. I'm getting the shit end of that deal right there. Ira, after happy hour, I guarantee you that's a no. We got a few people that are getting in our duck race here real quick. Just give me a sec. People getting in the duck race are Patrick B. Shout out to Patrick B. Jose Ramirez, you in. Scott Eckett, you in. So right now, $20 Venmo you to win $90. This is either Booger. Oh, wow, you guys can't see it because of the green screen. I'm stuck. All right, this is either Booger. Wait, where's the camera? You can kind of see it. Booger or Juicy Pear. Booger or Juicy Pear. Cheers to all of y'all. And then I got to sing what? Achy, Breaky Heart. I'm going to say this right now. You guys don't want to hear this song. I need the lyrics. I actually, and Jeremy's like a lot better at this because he hears a lot of the songs. I don't know if I've ever heard this song. All right, here we go. Oh, man. Did we start in the beginning? I'll start at the chorus. But don't tell my heart, my achy, breaky heart, I just don't think he'd understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy, breaky heart, he might blow up and kill this man. Oh. Juicy Pear! Let's go! Oh, dude. That's monumental. That's monumental. I don't think I've ever gotten a good one. I may. You guys don't want me to sing. That I can guarantee you. You don't want me to sing. That I can guarantee you. Juicy Pear. Dude, I'm telling you right now. And Mario just said, I've never seen somebody so excited for Juicy Pear. You get these jelly beans when you know it's like probably a 20% chance that you're going to get a good one. It might even be less than that. And you get a good one, dude. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's brutal, man. It's absolutely brutal. I just had a Raider fan DM me on IG. It said, how much for a boot? If we get 4 more bangs, Chuggs and I will boot race. He made me do the jelly bean, so that's the deal. What do you mean? Oh, you got to just rewind and check it out like your face. You're good. You got it. Also, Husker is in for our 50-50 raffle. You in? Wait, let me crack open one here. Also, they said I did Achy Breaky Heart better than you. Yep. That's what I was told. That's what I was told. Also, You want the good news or the bad news? Bad news is I had to eat a jelly bean. Good news, juicy pear. Dude, I mean, I literally don't think I've ever gotten one. Like, what was crazy is Graf the other day when he was here, and that's probably 3 weeks ago, I shouldn't say the other day. He got 3 in a row. 3 in a row. I've never seen that. That's like getting Gimbal 3 times in a row. In all honesty, that's like getting Gimbal 3 times in a row. Hot take, Sanders is a locker room cancer. You know, we were kind of talking about, like, is Shedeur Sanders?
Is Shedeur?
It wouldn't, I mean, I'll tell you what, it wouldn't surprise me if before the draft it came out, he's like, I'd actually like to be known as Shedeur Sanders. I mean, but is Shedeur, Majatois, I don't, is that somebody where you're like, that's a Raider? Real quick, like, is that like, that's a Raider?
No.
I'm worried, dude. I know people are really high on him, and I will admit, I don't think I've ever been all that high on Shedeur. If you told me his last name, if it was anything else, nobody's talking about him going in round 1. Imagine a quarterback that was 4-8 last season on Colorado. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is saying that he's going in round 1.
And just like you said earlier with Shaq and how he was like, I'm rich. My kids aren't rich. Shedeur's like, I'm rich.
He is. Like, I mean, he is.
But also before that.
Oh, and I know that. But I do think, like, and I know Deion's done a great job, right? It's kind of like where you can hate on Deion all you want, but Deion has done a good job of making his kids millions of dollars, which, you know, depending on how you want to look at it, it kind of reminds me, though, a little bit of, like, LeVar Ball, where a lot of concentration around his kids, and then sometimes, like, those guys might flame out because a lot of times, like, people root against those dudes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people are going to root against Shedeur.
I root against him every day.
I won't go that far, but real talk.
Yeah, and Patrick B., exactly. Everybody was saying, I don't want to trade up for Caleb Williams because he struggled against the Pac-12. Do you think Caleb Williams struggled against the Pac-12? May I introduce you to Shedeur Sanders?
My dad has entered the duck race. Richie, you in. You know what? I'm going to put $20 of my money. Dad, you're going down.
Real talk.
You're going down.
Real talk, Raider Nation. What's good, my peoples? JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson, was the best pick in the entire draft. Another beast mode activated on the offensive line. Mitch?
$20 Venmo to get in right now for a chance to win 120. I mean, I've been saying for a while that I don't know if there's another player that just fires me up as much as what Jackson Powers Johnson does. And it's kind of funny. Nico Laz, he sent me an IG DM yesterday, and it was literally said, like, this guy fires me up. And it's just because we just talked about Shedeur, right? JPJ is a Raider. Like, that guy loves football. And I'm almost wondering, and this is a huge leap that I'm about to make, but the mentality that Maxx Crosby brings on every snap, every play, kind of gives me the same feeling of like what JPJ brings on every snap, every play. And I legitimately think that Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be the offensive lineman for the Raiders that's on our team for like 10 years. Where it's like, I was going to throw out the name like Jason Kelce. I mean, if he turns into Jason Kelce, that's maybe arguably the greatest center of all time. I think JPJ, though, is going to go down as the way the nation talks about like Rodney Hudson. And it's just a unbelievable stud, tone setter, but it's not just like what he does. It's not just what he does on game day. You bring in somebody that's going to be first guy in, last guy to leave, kind of like that mentality that Crosby brings. It's contagious. And the Raiders were one of the teams that had some of the players that were showing up in the offseason more than any other NFL team. That's been well documented. Evil me, any coach that Shedeur would have lost to work with is Anotnio Pierce. AP would love him. I feel like he will be amazing as a Raider is my take. I'm not saying it's a bad take. Like, to me, Shedeur Sanders is either a good quarterback. Like, again, I don't think he's ever top 5. He's He's not that good to be top 5. Maybe, like, this might upset some people. I would say Shador's ceiling is probably closer to Dak Prescott, where never an elite quarterback, but a good quarterback in the NFL, where his floor is really low.
Top 3 MVPs not elite?
Who?
Dak, top 3 MVP voting.
Yeah, this past year, but nobody thinks Dak's top 3 quarterback is my point. I mean, nobody thinks that. There's not a single person out there that thinks Dak Prescott's top 3 quarterback. Yeah. I mean, where would you rank him right now? He's like in that 8, 9, 10, 11 range, I would say.
He's top 10.
Yeah, I think he's top 10 as well. 8, 9, 10, 11 is probably where he's at. Shador is like, that's where he's going to be. Like, I think Shador Sanders' career is probably a lot closer to Trevor Lawrence, where I know Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 overall pick, but anybody that thinks Trevor Lawrence has lived up to his draft pedigree is lying to themselves.
Mike Crane, probably the same amount of chance of you getting a girl.
Why is that?
Is it any chance that we get rid of Chuggs? I would say the same amount of you getting a girl is.
I'll tell you this right now.
We get rid of me.
If we get rid of Chuggs, this show, I can't do what Chuggs does. I mean, if we did a show with just me, put something up on screen for 4 hours, and that's what it's going to be.
Mike, I actually take that back. I'm sorry. I don't want you to go into the other room and tell your mom that you're really upset. So, Mike, just stick around. It's all okay. I get it.
We're going to make it work here.
I get it, Mike. It's
also,
okay.
Death, taxes, and I'm up. What's up, fam? Any big news? LA Crash Dog, all I'm going to say is about 2 hours ago, I said that we were going to get exactly this. This is what we were going to get. We got it. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We got him. No big news, Gunny. No big news.
Yeah.
Although, Gunny, can you please confirm, that's how I started talking about it, I did send you $130 yesterday. I was finally able to. If you could confirm that, that would be clutch. Frank, Patrick Grahams loves Palomeo. Look for him to start over Merrick. I can promise you this, that'll never happen. Guarantee. I like Palomeo a lot, but Merrick and Epps are one of the best safety duos in the league. I can promise you, Palomeo, based off the money that they gave him, will never this year start over Trevon Merrick. And I mean never. Bang! We got one for the Silver and Black Hills gang. Loving our roster. I'm ready for the season. That means this.
I'm ready.
Means we are 3 bangs away from a boot race. 3 bangs away from a boot race. And I'll tell you this. Chuggs, hear me out. Okay? I'm a deal maker. I'm a shot clock maker as well. If we got 3 more bangs here on the show, would you be open to the idea to extending the show for another 15 minutes?
If we get 6 more.
6 more 30 minutes.
6 more 20 minutes.
All right, deal.
All right.
Chuggs, I respect it. I'm a deal maker. Venthrak, shout out to you, man. Shout out to you, Venthrak. Actually, I got to go get the jersey. I might have bit off more than I could chew with that jersey deal. Well, Venthrak, are you okay with me just rocking the Abgin, or else I feel like I'm going to be running back and forth? See, this is why I need a stronger jersey coat rack.
You know who to talk to about it.
Marshall, order me a stronger jersey coat rack.
He said he likes your rack.
I can already tell you this. I'm going to have to pee very soon. Very, very soon.
Also, make sure to get those hashtag Raiders in if you want to ask us any questions.
Oh, you know what we should do, actually? We should probably start doing some of these duck races. Let's do the first race here for the jersey courtesy of Husker Raider.
Let's do it.
Let's do that one real quick here. Husker Raider jersey that's what we're going to do. Also, I got to give a few shout-outs here. Some other people that are in our Venmo duck race, which is Luis Rod, you in. Stephen Corbell, in. Anthony Green, in. And then L.A. Crash Dog, in. So as it stands right now, $20 Venmo, you would win I'm totally off. $160. I almost said $600. You would win $160 here on the Raiders Report. $20 Venmo to get in. We'll do that one a little bit closer to the end. The raffle that we're about to get into right now, again, is Husker Raider. He balled out. What was that? During the Graf show, I gave Graf Husker's jersey, and then he said, Mitch, I want everybody to have a chance to win a jersey. $2 super chat, and you have an opportunity to win a jersey. So if you haven't already given a shout out to Husker, he's one of the OGs here, man, and does a lot of really, really cool stuff. Was rocking with us over on Locals. And one of the things that I really, really want to try to do a better job of, okay? Really want to try to do a better job of is getting more people that maybe aren't as involved in the show involved a little bit more. And I thought that this would be a cool way to do it. Also, though, there's also crazy people out there like Ira Jackson. Bang! Mount Raider Moore, Ira Jackson. What up, Ira? What is up? What is up? Ira Jackson, Ira, again, I believe I have your jersey, which I do have your jersey information. Scheffler, Chef, if you're watching, I also need you to send me your jersey size on Venmo if you could. That would be great. I need your jersey size. I'll tell you what, I need a refill. Have you ever heard that song by Britney Spears?
What?
Oops, I banged again. Patrick! Bang! So that means, if my math is mathing correctly, one bang away from a boot race. One bang-a-rang away from a boot race. Let's go to Mickey Camacho.
Yeah, I was going to say, our Venmo or our supers are not pulling, though.
Oh, my God, dude. Damn, brutal. Cheers, Mitch and Chuggs, into the chat. Chuggs, you ain't going nowhere. My nephew. I'll tell you what. I feel like we're going to run into Miggy one day, and it's just going to be like a spitting image of you.
Miggy?
I could see it. I could see it. If you shaved your beard, rocking the stash, a little bit. I'll be honest. I can't see much of that picture, though.
I can't really see the picture at all.
But it kind of looks like you.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it. It kind of looks like you. Also, Ira said no jersey change. Ira, salute to you. Venthrak, oops, I banged again. And then the one, for whatever reason, our system sometimes can and cannot pull supers. Raiders salute, who has been a long, long time watcher, though I wish you weren't a Yankees fan. Amari Gaynor makes the 53-man roster as a bold prediction. He's a stud. Pause, if needed. I think Gaynor is a solid player. It's one of the reasons why he made my list here, and it's just another reason of, to me, what do I look for a UDFA to make the roster? Can you play your position? Cool. Gaynor, to me, can be a linebacker, edge rusher, right? Like, he's got to find that role, and he might be able to help out in both of those areas. But it's also that ability to be special teams. Like, the way Gaynor makes this roster to me is if he can find a little bit of, Curtis Bolton in him, and you can be that downhill, nose to the football type of player. Not going to give you anything in coverage. He's just not. But it can be a special teams player, be a gunner, and somebody who's just not afraid to just, again, put their nose into the unwanted situations and make some tackles. You do that, you're going to have success.
Oh, yeah.
Point blank, you're going to have success. We got 500 people here in the building. If you haven't already, make sure you click that like button right now for the duck race. I got a few more people here coming in. I got Rob Fravor. What's up, Rob? It's good to have you here, man. Rob Fravor's been in a lot, and I'm telling you this right now. For all you duck racers out there, Rob, that guy's he's been around a duck racer too. And then Joe Maldonado in $20 Venmo to win $180 as it stands right now. Remember, we are one bang away from doing a boot race between Jeremy Chuggs and I.
Actually not.
Oh, shit. I didn't even see that. Lost in Times. Bang!
Bobby Hernandez, can I get a Hoya?
Hoya! Boot, Scoot, and Boogie from Lost in Times. If you want a shout out here on the Raiders Report, I want you to spam Lost right now. Chuggs, I got a big favor to ask. Can you give some shout outs? I'm going to go fill up 2 boots. I got to take a mean pee and then boot race.
Let's do it.
Boot race time here on the Raiders Report. That also means we're about 3 bangs away from extending this show 20 minutes. Uh-oh.
You have 2 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. I see Patrick B. Ira Chuggs, great to see you pop in on IG. Hey, loved y'all having me yesterday. It was fun chopping it up with Mount Raidermore for a little bit on my drive home. Appreciate all of y'all. I wish I could get it on screen, but there we go. There we go. Now we're working with some gas. All right, well, now it's pulling something. Ira, there we go. Great to see you on screen. We had these earlier, Lost in Times, Vin Thrack, Ira Jackson said no jersey change. Raiders Salute said Amari Gaynor makes the 53-man roster. Bold prediction, he's a stud. How do Martin and I get mailing addresses for our jerseys? Robert, just hit me up on Twitter. Let's see, Vinthrak, bang for the Silver and Black Hills gang. Loving our roster. I'm ready for the season. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Last chance to get in. If you want to get in on our 50-50 raffle, $20 to get in. $20 to get in the 50-50 raffle. I believe it's up to like $130 to the winner. So if you want a chance to win $130, let me know if you want to get in. I am Punchy. I actually did not see that yesterday on IG or Twitter. You hit me up yesterday. I do not have anything from you yesterday. I am Punchy. Also, I don't know what your Twitter name is. I don't know. I don't see you. I am Punchy. I don't see it. I'm looking in my messages. Yeah. Brutal. Let's see. A couple weeks ago. I don't know what your Twitter name is, but we'll see. Honestly, if it was during the draft week, very low chance that I was looking at because I was working a lot during the draft week. So try resending it to me, and then we'll try to figure it out. Let's see. Rebel. I see Sienna, Isaac Hernandez, CJ, West Coast, Steven Gutierrez. King Javier, as happy hour is over. I'm going to go ahead and input all the names into this race for the jersey. Who's going to win a jersey from Husker Raider? What's up? Texans versus Mexicans. Miggy Camacho saying lost. Chuggs. Miggy. All right. I'm putting in the names right now for our jersey raffle. Still have a chance to get in if you want to get in on the 50-50 raffle. This is just for the jersey from Husker Raider.
All right, I'm back. Sorry it took so long. The other company across the hallway was like, what do you guys do? You make a lot of noise. So had to talk to him a little bit. Had to give him the whole rundown of Chat Sports. Elevator speech to somebody who's never heard of Chat Sports before. What would be your elevator speech? Because I just did one. Also, remember, $20 Venmo to get in here for a chance to win some money. I see Moshav is in. Robert Ortiz sent me a 2. He said, can you put him in for the jersey raffle? His name's Robert Ortiz.
Joe Robert?
Robert Ortiz.
Alrighty.
Also, David Vergara is in. So $20 Venmo right now to win $200 here on the Raiders Report. Good luck. Though my dad's in this race, so you guys got to beat my dad. Clip that. Though, is it weird to send your dad a butthole pic? I mean, I would imagine at some point, while I was a baby, he's seen it.
I would guess.
I would imagine. Richie, how many diapers in your life have you changed? I need to know. Raider Josh also said he wants to be in for the 50-50 raffle. Josh Raider, you in.
Oh, Mo said ready for us to sign a corner. And you're in, Mo.
Bro,
Last one.
Last one in. So this race right here gets you a jersey. This race right here gets you a jersey.
All right, here we go.
What up, West Coast Spartan?
In
Too many.
3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Run it. After this horse race, Chuggs and I boot race here on the Raiders Report. Is that Juju with the lead? Juju with the lead. Raider Josh down here next to Mo. Navman. I feel like Navman is always in a very interesting spot. Navman's always in the race, doesn't always win. Watch out for Venthrak there on the back end. Abjin starting to fall back here a little bit. Isaac Hernandez starting to fall back. G-Money. Solid race halfway through this one. Taino starting to fall back. I kind of like where Uncle Doobie's at. Low-key, I hope everyone doesn't take offense to this. I kind of want an Uncle Doobie jersey. An Uncle Doobie jersey would hit differently. Mo running. G-Money. 9 seconds to go. Who's this? Van Leuven. Nova. G-Money. G-Money.
Darth Fatass said my horse headed to the glue factory.
Oh, damn, brutal. G-Money with the win. G-Money, what I need you to do is either send me a $1 Venmo proving that you're G-Money at Mitchell Renz 365, or you can follow Jeremy on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs and send him what number and what last name you want.
I am Punchy was asking if we got his jersey in yet.
The answer to that one, Punchy, is probably no.
Number 33.
Oh, I mean, Punchy, I've worn that multiple times on the show. I thought you were talking about like a new jersey. Punchy, I'm not going to lie. I've probably worn that jersey 4 or 5 times on the Raiders report. Yeah, I'm Punchy 33. Yeah, I'm probably going to worn that one like 4 or 5 times. I know I don't always wear every jersey live, or most of the shows that I do are live, but sometimes like people don't watch the live show, I guess is how I would put it.
G Money.
What up, G Money? Winner. I was going to say horse dinner, but that's weird. All right, Chuggs. We got a boot race to do here.
All right, boot race, 50-50 raffle.
And then remember, if you want a chance to get in for the 50-50 raffle to win a little bit of money, final chance to get in here, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Carl Sinez, my guy Carl, in. Isaac Hernandez, you in. The other if I have another 33, I don't know what it would be. I can look real quick here. If I have another 33, that's Raiders Podcast. So Podcast is my other 33 jersey that I have, though I also have it down documented that the 33 I Am Punchy jersey I have sent to you.
Frisco, I know maybe you're new, but you don't always see your name in the race.
Correct.
When it goes. I put you in. You were one of the free entries, so I definitely put you in.
Yep.
But yeah, sometimes you don't always see your horse.
And that's kind of
sucks.
sometimes that's like the shitty part about when you have so many horses like in the race or whatever duck race that we do, because it basically what happens is the simulation just like drops some people back, and there's sometimes people that win, you don't see them the entire race, then all of a sudden they're just there. But I promise you were in. Yeah, sometimes Podcast was the other 33. So Punchy, I'm pretty sure I sent you the jersey home. If you haven't received it yet, let me know. Or just send me your address. That way I can double check. But you were one of the people that said you wanted me to send your jersey home. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure I sent it home. I mean, I have it documented that I did. So if you haven't received it yet, send me your, I guess, shipping address, first name, last name. That way we can get it straightened out. Cool. All right, man. How much second of a head start do I get? 52 seconds. Love it. Yes.
No, 91.
91 seconds. All right, how about this? 9.1. I was trying to figure out a way to do that, but we'll go with it. 9.1 seconds. Robert Jansen, I need you to be the aficionado here. Okay? Here we go. 9.1 seconds. I'm going to push myself, and this is probably going to put me in a bad spot. I'm telling you right now, I'm winning this race. I'm winning this one. If you think I'm going to win, type M. If you think Jeremy's going to win, type C for Chuggs. You ready? I'm going to try. A 16-second boot for me is tough. That's what I'm going to need to win. But hey, we're going to make it happen. If you flip 91 upside down, it's 16. I'm meant to win. Whew, all right. You're disgusting. Honestly, I don't even feel like I won. I don't even feel like I won. I feel like I got a lot of stuff in me right now. Oh, God. I feel like I'm going to burp. I got a small child in my stomach. Oh, God. Oh, God. Ugh. I don't know. He definitely took longer than 9.1. He was egging me on a little bit. Dude, you almost fell. Dude almost fell. Holy crap. A win is a win, Taino. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Crash Dog, you said you could also get jerseys with more than 10 letters. What is the max? I want to get one that says End Vet Suicide. All right, I'm just going to be very transparent on this one, Gunny. I don't know if YouTube will let me put suicide on a jersey. You're not sending a bad message at all. I do have a jersey provider that we believe in and trust in now because, again, like I don't want to get a shitty jersey when you guys do what you do. So we usually go through Nike. Just they fit me well. They look clean. They look good. I do have another jersey provider that if you want to go over 10 characters, you have the ability. But just YouTube sometimes can be very strict about like things that are very serious and then things that aren't. And YouTube's also very smart about like what you wear, what you say, what you do. So if I have that on a jersey, you're not sending a bad message. But sometimes YouTube's almost too smart for their own good, and they're going to search through videos and they're going to say, "Well, this guy's got something that says suicide." So if you could give me something, I literally don't think I can put that on the show. Which again, I hope that makes sense. I know YouTube's kind of maybe a little bit foreign to some people that don't work in it every day. For somebody that works in it every day, they're not going to let me wear that jersey, and I'm going to get flagged for it. You got to give me something. End vet struggles, that could work. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense to everybody that's watching the show? I just can't put that on screen. Uncle Doobie, yo, love this show. You guys are wild. The Uncle Doobie jersey dream lives on. Shout out to the Oakland Coliseum. Some of my most favorite memories were born there. Oakland all day, Raider Nation for life, and A's Army. You're definitely watching Graph then, right? A's Army. I mean, I'll say this. I'm a Raider fan because of my experience that I had in Oakland. It was unlike anything I've ever had. I'm a family guy through and through. I went to a Penn State game when I was in 7th grade, and I was hooked after that whiteout. Just like same exact thing. Went to a Coliseum game back in 2019, Monday Night Football, very first game after the whole FAB thing, and it was one of the most eye-opening experiences, not only just from like a football standpoint, but like a culture standpoint. Like again, like I am from small town, central Pennsylvania, where my fiance Alex, she's Mexican. I always make the joke like when she comes to my hometown, people look at her, they're like, "Who let her out?" You know what I mean? Like it's kind of wild. But being able to go to Oakland, a totally different culture, sitting down talking to my guy Graph, and even Graph was like, "Dude, give me kind of like a background of Oakland. Like, you can go there, you can't go there." It was just from top to bottom. It's what I loved, and it's why I love Raider Nation, because it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how you talk. It doesn't matter if you bleed silver and black, and if you just like have that family mentality, it doesn't matter. And that's why I became a Raider fan, because to me it was like, that's me in a nutshell. Like I don't care what you look like. I don't care anything. If we can get along, cool. And that's what the Coliseum was nuts, man. People were giving out steaks. I have a picture of a guy. He gave me a full tomahawk steak. Made me a Raider fan. Shout out to the 440 people here rocking with us here on Thursday Happy Hour. That boot right now, Chuggs, is kicking my ass, man. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I didn't know what Happy Hour was going to bring for me today. And like, dude, 30 minutes ago, we were like, nobody was here. You know what I mean? Like, we were like, all right, nobody wants to party today, which is fine. Believe me, Chuggs worked like 10 days in a row. I had off yesterday, but one day off in the last like 2 weeks. We put in a lot of time and effort for the draft. We love rocking with you. And what you guys have done here in the last probably like 20, 25 minutes definitely has really woken me up, no doubt about it. We're going to do a duck race here, and, deals are deals, kind of what we do. If we get 3 more bangs from the moment now until this duck race happens, we'll stay live for 15 more minutes is what we're going to be able to do. Chuggs has got to go home, take care of his dog. Honestly, I'm kind of on dog duty today as well, so I'm already in the doghouse with Alex. That's no doubter. But we'll leave that happen for the next here 15 minutes or so. But here's your final chance to get in our 50-50 raffle duck race. And I want to say right now the winner would get $230. The last name that I have is Isaac Hernandez. I almost said Thomas Tilapia, but it's kind of close. I'm going to put it as Tilapia anyway. Oh, man, John Butson. What's up, my man? How's being a dad? That's also why I love doing YouTube, because you get to know people on a personal level where I get it. You guys take your chance to be like, all right, I'm going to watch these two goons chug beers and be ridiculous. But then you're like, all right, like these guys are cool, and I want to be able to share my experience with them. John's my guy. He sends me pictures of his new baby all the time, and I freaking love that shit. John is in. I thought I got another one, but I think that's it. All right, right now as it stands, winner would get $250. I also got Roy G here in the building. What's up, Roy G? You in? Every time I see Roy G, I think of Roy G Biv. Hang on, I think I got one here. Victor sent me $1. Victor, I need another 19 if you want to get in, but maybe that was a tester. If you want to add me as a friend, I will accept it if it's a tester, which does happen from time to time. Okay, final chance to get in, Chuggs. I'm sending you the list as we speak right now, though I got to take out the numbers. TV, right? Okay, that's sent to you. And here we go. Bro, this boot is rocking with me right now. Nabman, Taino, both real ones here in the building. Also, next Wednesday, for the people that are trying to get in this like Zoom call here, Wednesday, I'm going to try to do 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm actually getting a tattoo that day, so it's kind of figuring out all the ins and outs of it. If you guys want, we can do the Zoom call while I'm getting my tattoo. It'd be earlier, though. Be at 11:30 a.m. my time, so noon 30 Eastern. Dude, this race right here is electric. All right, I'm going to look one more time here. I need you to add one more. His name's Richard Mag, M-A-G. Richard Mag. Nobody else is getting in this duck race. If I get one more $20 Venmo, it's going to Chuck's college fund. We're trying to get him into Barkley. All right, winner of this race, just so I know, gets how much? Winner gets $270. Also, my dad is in this race. You're going to see his name, Richard Renz. Can you shuffle for me one time? His name's Richard Renz. You got it. Rich, I don't want him to come in last. I want him to come in like 26. That's basically coming in last here. 3, 2, 1, run it. Winner here is going to get $270. Person that comes in last place gets a butthole pick. Anthony Green right now is just, I also think with this amount of Cupids, I mean, this would be bad. This is how gonorrhea started. Just a bunch of Cupids shooting arrows. Who? Oh, Richie. Honestly, that looks nothing like my dad. I'm going to be honest. Mitchell, the Mitchell Renz Angel and the Richard Renz Angel, they do look similar. Roy G. All right, see you, Roy. Corbell. You know who's been running a good race? Mag. Mag's not doing anything fancy, but he's right there in the... Dude, Charles G, I thought had it. Starting to fall back here a little bit. Thomas Tilapia, you can get that at a really good deal out of Denny's. I'm telling you right now. Richard, where are you going? Nabman, Josh, Husker Raider. You know what, though? That's proof karma's a good thing. Husker Raider donated $500 on Venmo like 3 weeks ago and said, Mitch, I want to give away a jersey to Raider Nation. Then this mother effer wins $270 here on the Raiders Report. If you don't believe in karma, that's great right there. Husker's like, I don't believe in karma. I was praying the entire time. Husker Raider, dude. Also, like, have you, like, won before? Off the top of my memory, I can't think of. I was going to say, I don't think he's ever won. Oh, nice. I was actually hoping. Crash Dog, I knew was going to wake up at some random moment. Imagine the first thing that you wake up to, which, again, for Crash Dog, he wakes up somewhere around this show every single day. Usually, I imagine he just leaves the show. Like, he's like half asleep. He clicks it on at 4, and then until somebody bangs, like that's his alarm clock. And that's kind of lines up today. But, dude, Husker's been in, I'm not even shitting y'all. Homie's been in 50 races. I mean, is that a fair number? 50 races. Congratulations to HuskerRaider. That's freaking awesome. Hey, Cullen, real quick. If he walks in, don't say anything. Oh, I got declined again. Venmo, you're killing me. What's up? What did he say? Hey, Cullen, real quick. Cullen. If he comes back, he's like, nah, I'm not doing it. I've also learned with Cullen that he's got Aaron Winnick. If I didn't put, was his name in there? It was not. Yeah, Aaron. I'll send you the money back. That's on me. I missed that one. That's on me. All right. The problem is though, and Husker, I'm gonna shield your name here to the best of my ability. I'm getting another, because we went so crazy during the draft. I'm unable to send the money. So, Husker, I will. Crash Dog, if you're here, please back me up on this one. I woke up the next morning. The first thing that I did was I sent Crash Dog his money. So because Venmo always has caps on certain things, and again, this was the last time this happened to us was Gimmel. Was Gimmel night. Shout out to the greatest gift of all time in December. But Crash Dog, if you could back me up here, I did. This was the first thing I did in the morning. Husker said no worries. All right, cool. Evil, I want a Bowers jersey, but 89, maybe wait till 19. What if he doesn't change it? I think if anything, that proves to you even more of not just the tight end. Like, dude's going to play a lot of slot, and if I'm him, I'm trying to go into the NFL as a receiver. You can make so much more money in this league as a wide receiver. Him taking 89, that's going to be your starting slot receiver for the Silver and Black this upcoming season. I cannot freaking wait, man. Can't wait for the season. So here's what's going to happen. Chuggs and I are going to head on out of here, though I do think this is a closing time type of episode for me. I'm not going to lie. I'm cooked right now. I did not eat enough food. I did not prepare enough for what happened to me in that last 45 minutes. So we're going to sing closing time. And then the next time you see Jeremy Chuggs and I, that's going to be Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Wild stuff. Wild stuff.
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world. Closing time. Turn on all the lights on over every boy and every girl. Closing time. One last call for alcohol, so finish your whiskey or beer. Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. 'Cause I know who I wanna take me home. I know who I wanna take me home. I know who I wanna take me home. Take me home. Hey, real talk, Husker, congratulations on your money. Also, shout out to Husker for being a real one. It's what the Raiders Report's all about here. And we've done a lot of crazy shit on this show. We've had a lot of real conversations, some dumb ones, definitely a lot of dumb ones. But like at the end of the day, people like Husker do what they do because they rock with y'all. They think that this YouTube show is a lot more than a YouTube show. It's a way that a lot of people have been able to meet. We've created an amazing, amazing community. And the fact that we're even able to do a stupid show, and I mean that in the most serious way because I'm the one doing it, that's created around just
Thursday happy hour is the ultimate proof that you don't have to be blood to be family. Raider Nation is absolutely that. I'm going to see you guys on Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. From that man over there, Jeremy Chuggs. From myself, too, if you're a real one, let me know down below. RO4L. I love you all. Have a good weekend. And I cannot wait to sleep tonight. You? Raider!